Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with, unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson, and his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think unbiased and on the fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence, April 17th, 2020. And we've already got Atsuko joining us. It's always good to talk to Atsuko. How are you?
Hi, Shane. I'm doing very good.
It's very good to have you, Atsuko. Oh, yeah, being at home?
No. Being on the show.
Oh. Well, you're doing great. It's just like us chatting. You know, it's pretty laid back.
Yeah, I pretend that there's only you and me.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. So for the people who don't know, Atsuko and I met in Sedona in 18.
Yes.
And then again, she came to get together in Austin at that New Year's get together. And then again at ECETI. So we've got to see quite a bit of each other and come to be really good friends. And I really, I've experienced her abilities as a Reiki master. So, and Sherry will attest to her abilities as well. So, anytime I get anybody that comes across my path and they need a Reiki master, I always, Atsuko, tell you, I send them to you, don't I, Atsuko?
Yes, you do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem, because I trust you and I know it's real and I felt the power, the energy. So, and it's not that there's not other great people out there, but I know I've experienced your abilities personally. So with that, I feel comfortable with sending people to you. I know they're in great hands. I know you're an angel here, along with so many in our group that are just doing wonderful work. So, and you're a wonderful artist too. So you got a lot going on. How's art school been going?
School is not closed, but they're online. I'm taking a bronze sculpture class and jewelry stone setting class. So both classes, you definitely need to use labs, but it's online.
Oh no!
Labs.
Right? Yeah, because bronze, you don't have that stuff at your house.
Yeah. So for bronze class, it's pretty much on hold. But for jewelry stone setting class, I have some tools at home, so I'm making jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every day.
What kind of jewelry? Just with crystals and stuff? Is this going to play into your crystals and things too?
For some reason, I really love working with metal, like bronze sculpture as well. I really love working with metal. So mainly, I like to combine different metal in my jewelry too. So I would combine copper, brass, silver into one piece. I like the look of different, colors, combination.
Very
And
nice.
also, I like using gemstone, of course, because it has healing energy, healing power. So I always try to incorporate, metal and gemstone together.
Very nice. We'll have to have you back.
It's really.
I was going to say we'll have to have you back when we can show pictures of some of the stuff, because we've shown some of your pictures before, some of the artwork. You just sent me this really cool fairy picture. I'll see if I can pull that up and show the people while we're talking or whatever. But yeah, and then the really cool picture you did of the Anunnaki, the picture of like my wife and I in Austin that you did.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So we've shown those, and the sculpture you did of one of your, I think it was a classmate or something.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I think that was Paul, not classmate, but the model.
Yeah.
Paul's a bust. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also made phoenix, a six-winged phoenix sculpture on a dodecahedron. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
and also
right.
My second bronze piece is it's called Sea Goddess, and it's a head of undersea creature, but she is sea goddess, so very divine female under creature.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You also did a relief, didn't you?
Yes, it's Buddha relief.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I titled Fractal Universe.
Right. So you're actually in this art class, and that's actually what I've always loved to do. I've always been sort of a jack of all trades, master of none. It's like once I do something, I want to move on to something else exciting. So I never really become really great at anything, but I get to try a lot of different things. So it sounds like this art class you're in. You get to move around through a lot of different things and experience a lot of different things that you've never experienced. And then you might find some new loves that you had no idea you would love doing it so much. So that's wonderful.
Yes. I always wanted to, start making jewelry because most of the time it's hard for me to find jewelry that I really love. My style is very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was hard for me to find jewelry I really love. But now I can design my own jewelry and make it, so it's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then you've got that energy of making it put into it as well. Do you do custom pieces? I'm sorry to cut you off.
I can do anything. Not anything, but I don't do gold because it's so expensive. But I can do copper, brass, silver, and combining gemstone. I can make
very nice.
Custom jewelry too. Yeah.
So what all are you doing now for work? You're still doing the Reiki master stuff? Because I know I keep sending people to you, so I know you're doing that. What else are you doing though?
So I'm doing Reiki, and also I have an Etsy shop. And I'm
an Etsy shop?
My art. Yeah, I sell
okay.
art print like etching, needleprint, screen print on paper, and then also I sell t-shirts, screen print t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
So everything is handmade. Yeah, everything is handmade.
Very
and
cool.
I started making jewelry too, so I have jewelry.
So you have the jewelry, you have the shirts, and they're all on this Etsy site.
Art prints, yeah.
And the art prints, sort of like the ones you brought and gave us at in Austin.
Austin. Oh, that one is not on, but I can put it on actually.
But you do stuff like that though, right?
Yes.
Like that? Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Shiny's here. Hey, Shiny. I ran into her in Target today. We're both out.
Oh, really?
Like light workers are out wandering around, and we ran into each other. She heard my voice, I think, the next aisle over, and I was like, oh my gosh, Shiny, what's up? So, yeah, it's like.
It's so nice of you. You live so close.
Yeah, it was weird because I don't ever go to Target. So, yeah, it was really cool. It was like, we're not fearful at all. We were out just getting what we needed. No mask or anything. So,
yeah, I went to Trader Joe's a few days ago, and I was the only one who was not wearing a mask. Everybody else were wearing. But a week ago, half of the people there were not wearing a mask. So after 1 week, it changed.
That's wild. Yeah, everybody's getting more. Well, it was a recommendation now, you know. I had looked and I was at the store with my daughter picking up art supplies because they're stuck at home, so I'm trying to keep them busy. But I looked over at these two teenage girls walking by, and one of them was already looking at me with a sort of snobby look on my face, like, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" So yeah, it is pretty weird, but I just stay away from people, get what I need, get in and out.
I only go out when I need food.
Yeah.
So it's like once a week.
Right. I'm just like I usually am. I go out daily and just try to get out in nature a little bit and just enjoy the weather. And I don't really go around people though, so I'm not like, being a danger in this epidemic that's going on. But you had some really cool experiences though that you were going to share.
Yes. I think it happened on April 2nd, before April 4th border opening.
Mm-hmm.
April 2nd. I was lying on my bed and I was meditating. I do meditation often these days, and trying to manifest beautiful new earth. Everybody's in harmony, unity, and helping each other. So I was meditating, and because I was laying down on my bed, I started dozing off, and then I heard my smartphone alarm started ringing, like on my right side. It was very close to my right ear, so I woke up. But I realized my smartphone was in the living room, not in my bedroom. So I thought, that was weird. And then I continued meditation. And then once again I started dozing off. And then this time I heard a loud knocking on the door, like dun 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 dun, on the left side this time. It switched side, left side. So I woke up. And it was middle of the night, very late at night. So nobody would come to my apartment and knock on the door. So I thought, that's weird. Yeah, so I figured my higher self wanted me to continue meditation. I think it was very important.
Yeah.
So I got fully awake and I continued meditation, 100% focus. And then I felt a lot of download or energy coming through my crown chakra. And my head felt so, I felt so much pressure in my head. And then I started sweating. It was so hot. So I thought, wow, there must be something very important that just happened to me. It was how do I say, clear audio.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's not actual sound, but it was in my head, right? Sound was in my head, but the physical, I got physically hot, so it was like 100% sure that happened because I was sweating. So, and then a few days later, I was watching Magenta Pixie's videos. I love Magenta Pixie.
I love Magenta Pixie too.
Yeah, she's so great. She gave me so much courage, comfort, and assurance. I really love her. And I was watching one of her videos, and she said that she was sleeping. I think it was on the day of April 4th. She was sleeping and she was woken up.
Yeah.
She joined global meditation.
Yeah. So she said she woke up 5 minutes before everybody. So she got woke up just like you got woke up.
Yeah, but timing-wise, mine was off. It was early. But because I truly believe that there's no time and space. It's illusion, especially when I do Reiki. Maybe that's why it happened to me earlier. I don't know, but
All right.
I thought that was very interesting. And she also said that there are some people who sent her email that they were also waking up, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this as any arrogant, way that I'm special or anything, but I think so. It's very important right now to pay attention to any subtle sound you hear, or any like knocking, or how to say, touching on your skin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There might be some very important, how do I say, alert from your higher self. You never know. So I like to, tell everybody to be, to pay attention. It might be very, very important.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And that's one of the reasons for being in the moment, because when you're like worried about the future or the past and you're not in the moment, you can miss all sorts of signs right in front of your face because you're not there. You're not in the moment. So you miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I heard that knocking on the door, dun, 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 I could have totally, dismissed it. Like, maybe I misheard it or something, right?
Right.
But because it happened, smartphone alarm and the banging, it happened one after another. So I thought, maybe I need to continue meditating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
so
cool, though.
Very, interesting.
And
also,
I'm glad that you didn't get fearful about it, because some people would have, went the fearful route instead of realizing that they were just being, alerted to wake back up to do the meditation. So that's really good.
Mm-hmm. And the second event I wanted to share with everybody is, this was so beautiful. It happened on, I think April. I wrote it down so I won't forget. Let me see. It was April 6th, 2:20 a.m. April 6th. So what happened was, I was lying on my bed. I wasn't sleepy, so I was fully awake. And then my eyes were open. What I saw was, at first I saw my entire vision was full of stars, or like moving small particles. It was tiny, tiny particle moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started rotating clockwise. And then all of a sudden it started moving counterclockwise. And it was moving so fast, so it was almost like, making me dizzy.
Right.
And then it was like aurora moving in every direction, in all different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Pink, red, yellow, blue, green, all different colors moving around. So it was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like living aurora. And I was, laying down on my bed looking at the ceiling, it's right there.
Wow.
My eyes were fully open. I am fully awake. And then, movement, the aurora movement was very organic. It wasn't like random, but it seemed organic. So I asked, "Are you entities?"
Right.
I verbally asked, "Are you entities?" And then no answer. So I tried to communicate with telepathy instead.
Mm-hmm.
But there were no answers. It was the entire ceiling. It looks like it was full of angelic entities. It was so beautiful. And the background was like cosmos, black space. So you're seeing beautiful colored aurora moving around, and the background is black space.
Wow.
And I didn't see the ceiling anymore. It was just like looking at the space.
Do you think it was through your third eye?
My eyes were open, so I'm not sure.
Right.
And then it changed the color. It changed to red. So most of it changed to red color. It was very beautiful red with just a tiny little bit gold color.
Mm-hmm.
And it was as though I was flying in the space
Mm-hmm.
and going through red nebula. Those flying simulation, you go
Right.
through red nebula, something like that.
Right.
And it felt like it was alive and intelligent. That's what I thought.
The nebula did?
So yeah.
The nebula felt like it was alive and intelligent, like a being, like an
Yeah.
entity?
Mhm.
Wow, like a light entity.
So I tried to communicate, but no answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so beautiful. Have you seen the 3D movie Captain EO at Disneyland
No.
with Michael Jackson? No? It's kind of old, but I saw it many, many times. It's like, they are just right in front of you.
Yeah.
You're looking at that projection, but because it's 3D movie, so they are right in front of you, right? It was like that. So the light show or aurora show or whatever, it was right in front of me in my bedroom.
That is wild.
And
Jody, we're going to have,
I
wanted to say real quick that Atsuko will have you put your link in. People are asking for your links, but you can put them in the chat after we get done talking. So stand by for those links, you guys. It'll be there shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can do your Etsy
So
and
maybe.
What else do you have besides your Etsy link? Is everything there?
I can just copy and paste, right?
Oh, are you in the chat too? Okay, yeah, you could do that. That way they have it while they're thinking about it. They can open it in another window or something. And there we go. Perfect.
So it lasted like 20 minutes, I would think. And I thought it was the event, the energy wave.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. So I was like, oh, it's happening now. I was so excited but nervous at the same time, I had no idea what's going to happen. But I could still move my body, so I was like, I can still move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was a teaser of the actual event. I don't know. But
or maybe you were seeing
beautiful.
something energetic that was happening right now, because there's so much going on. I know I feel it, and I'm just so excited. And even in meditation, I want to let you guys know that whether it's the putting the V's in your V's or some of the letters with G's and numbers and all of the stuff that's going around, all the things it seems, the agendas they seem like they're trying to push right now, they're pushing so hard it's waking people up. So do not fear that any of this stuff is going to go through. They're pushing so hard with some of this stuff, it's just becoming a wake-up call. It's like every single plan that they're using, that they're trying to push forward, is all backfiring on them right now. And I've seen this in meditation, so please don't let all the... just enjoy the show, because it's all working out perfectly.
Mm-hmm. I totally believe so. I trust 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will turn out good.
Yeah, and we're all here together helping make this happen, and we have each other, and I'm thankful, you guys. I really am.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to also add this, let's see, not idea. Magenta Pixie was saying similar things, and I really 100% resonate with her. But the other day, can I mention certain name regarding this coronavirus?
Yeah, we can talk about coronavirus now. That's cool.
Okay. I was thinking about Bill Gates and all other people who,
like reduction of population type stuff?
yeah. I saw his TED talk. He was
Yeah.
talking that you know, global population is increasing too much, and it will be a catastrophe. So in order to solve this population problem, he was saying they can use vaccine and other health related methods. I forgot the other ones, but vaccines and others
Right.
to reduce population by 10% to 15%.
Right.
He says it clearly.
Right. Yeah. He
Yeah.
says it. It's not even. You can't even say it's a conspiracy or anything because he says it right out of his mouth. So,
Yeah.
so they're all being
if you
revealed
can-
is the main thing because people can hear that for themselves and people are hearing it. That video went viral already.
Mhm. So I was thinking about him or other people, who have this dark agenda of mass genocide.
Mm-hmm.
How could people do something like that? I was wondering at first, right? But
Right.
people, we all are reincarnate over on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
They say that we all play different roles. So maybe I was a murderer before, I tortured people before, or I was a saint before. You play all different kinds of roles because this world is to learn, consciousness to learn all kinds of experiences, learn from experiences. So those people, evil people, they are super insanely evil right now, but in their previous lives, I wonder what kind of roles they played.
Yeah.
What made them to choose this current role to be this what I say, insanely bad.
Right.
So I wondered if they were sane. Nobody wanted to do this role, but he was a saint or whatever, and he did so well. So he just he agreed on taking this, super vicious, has this horrible role. So because nobody wanted to play this, and
Right.
it eventually led a massive awakening of people. So
Right.
maybe it was like one of the how do you say fuels that would lead to massive awakening of humans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
you
beautiful.
really never know what happened previously and why they chose these roles. So thinking about that, it seems everything seems to be orchestrated very well.
Yeah.
Because there are horrible stuff, torture, and all that bad stuff going on. So that is very, very horrible. That should not happen anymore. But I was thinking, because it got this extreme, maybe it had to come to this extreme. It had to come to this extreme in order for all of humans to wake up. I don't know, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the funny thing is,
It's
just
like
today I was listening to an old recording of Sherry's session, and it said that the changes are here, but it needs to become a consensus reality. And when I heard that, because this is from like a couple of months ago, when I heard that, it just clicked in me that that's what this whole thing going on right now. It's making this new reality a consensus reality because now everybody's sort of having to come to a grinding halt and take note, and they're waking up, they're finding things that they wouldn't have found before if they were stuck on their daily grind. So I just wanted to point that out, that session came out like 2 months ago, and it's been uploaded for a while, but we just premiered it because of the Worldwide Regression Week on Quantum Healer's channel today, Candace Carl Goldman's channel. So that just came out today, but that information was a couple of months old, and it just hit me. I got like this little download while I was listening to it again, that's what's happening. That's the consensus is happening. The reality of the whole mass is changing now to match what all the work we've done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I thought about, instead of hating them, we can just say no more. This has gone too far, and we don't need to go any further. This grand act of polarity, good and evil. This is all complete. This act is complete, and we are going home. We are wrapping this up. We are wrapping up this huge movie that we are in.
Yeah.
We are wrapping up, and we are going home, and we are becoming, united, and we will be in harmony and all that.
Yeah.
We are returning to love that we are actually. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think anybody in our community that's awake and aware should check out Magenta Pixie's latest video she's been putting out, because she put out one that talked about really the 3 steps to taking back our sovereignty, really recognizing what's going on, the dark agenda. But you have to see that to say, I don't agree with it. So you don't have to dive too deep, but you at least need to be aware that there's something going on there. There is a dark agenda that you don't consent to. I love you, but I don't consent to it. And that's really the first step to not giving your energy over to this, because easily this thing can feed from both ends. It can feed from where it's been feeding from, but also the fear and the anger and everything that's going to come out when this hits the awareness of the population, and it can feed off of that as well. So it's almost taking a step back and not accepting it, but not getting sucked into all of the drama involved with that. You can have empathy without, diving too deep into that, and just resonating with the freedom that they're experiencing, the setting the captives free, so to speak.
So I think it's very important to stay grounded, not be sucked in fear or anger, but acknowledge what's going on,
Right.
Acknowledge what's going on, and we say no, we don't consent, It's very important, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we don't want this anymore. We are united, and we are loving being. We came from love,
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
I want to say everybody.
And it's so beautiful that we're all here and we're all being a part of this wonderful transformation, I did want to tell anybody that is viewing this on Facebook or Twitch or anywhere else, you can join in with the chat on YouTube. Just go to the Unbiased and On the Fence YouTube channel, and you can join in with the chat. So, how are things there? And you're in California, right?
Yes, Southern California, not in Orange, LA County, but Orange County. So it's less people.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I would think. Yeah.
Are the streets pretty empty over there?
It's not empty because a lot of people are working.
Yeah.
If it's a regular office job.
Yeah.
Or how do I say? Most businesses are open, so a lot of cars are going by. But mall is completely empty, and restaurants, they only do delivery and.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But, and you were talking about people wearing
also.
masks as well.
Yeah.
That changed.
Yeah. So a week ago, when I went to Trader Joe's, half people were not wearing. Yeah, half people were not wearing a mask, right? So this week I went to same Trader Joe's again, thinking maybe half, same thing, half people wouldn't be wearing a mask. And then this week I was the only one who was not wearing a mask.
Even the workers all had masks on?
Yeah, all of them. And then they even had a plastic shield at each cash register.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
And
been
I
seeing
was
that around too.
off. I was off a little bit, so I was not in front of the plastic shield. I didn't even see it. So the
Yeah.
worker told me, please step behind the shield. So I was like, oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah.
That's wild,
So,
isn't it? It's like everything's changed. They got all these foot stickers on the floor, like, the 6-foot marks. And
mm-hmm.
I took some
Yeah.
pictures today. It's
It,
just kind of humorous to me. But
mm-hmm. It used to be 6 feet, right? But now,
yeah.
this week, it was more like 12 feet. It was farther.
Yeah, it was closer, you mean?
No. A week ago, it was 6 feet. We had to stay away like 6 feet.
Yeah.
But this week, when I went to Trader Joe's, the marking on the floor, it was more like 12 feet. It was farther.
Oh, okay, like 12 feet. Wow, that's crazy.
12 feet, yeah.
Wow.
But
So,
I don't want to give fear to any people, so I don't want to
hmm
walk around without mask too much, so I don't go out too much. But this is ridiculous. The actual numbers are way, way lower than what they're saying on the media, right?
Right.
I don't watch TV, so I don't hear them often. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I follow the rules. I play by the rules. I do their suggestions and all of that because I don't see any reason not to play by the rules at this point. But I'm sort of just an observer type of guy. Maybe years ago I might have been
me too.
Don't dread it, spread it type of guy or something. But I'll just play along with it for now.
Mm-hmm. Just in case I have a mask in my bag, if I'm required to wear one when I go into stores, I have my mask. But if I'm not, required, I didn't want to wear it.
Yeah. It's so funny that my wife the other day said, I can't find any mask anywhere. And I'm like, I've got some mask at the house. She's like, you do? I'm like, yeah, it's in the end of the world box that I made like a few years ago. It's got canned foods. It's got some dusk mask in there. It's funny that I made that box and now those masks actually might come in handy. They're just one of those dust masks though. They're not going to really do anything.
Yeah, but viruses are tiny, so regular masks don't work,
Right.
It doesn't prevent any viruses to go through, so it doesn't work anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought a furnace filter today, and she wanted to get the one that works on viruses and stuff, just in case it's floating around in the air, So we're gonna have a little bit cleaner air here in our house, I guess, but it is what it is, If it gives somebody peace of mind to have a better filter, so be it. So, have you been doing a lot of sessions while you're at home now, or are you just doing art, or what are you doing while you're all shut in?
Oh, I'm making a lot of jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I cannot do bronze sculpture, so I'm making a lot of jewelry. And my school friends and I plan to go camping on the second week of April, but it was all closed down, so we couldn't go camping. Yeah, so I really would like to go out and enjoy nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're closing stuff off, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping they will lift the shutdown very soon.
Right. Yeah, I think they are in some areas, is what I heard. So I don't really know.
Okay, then let me go back to my Reiki, Reiki energy healing. Right now, I'm doing Reiki special, distance Reiki special because of the social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, many people are, their business are affected or they were laid off, and a lot of people have anxiety or you know, stress. So Reiki is very good to relieve stress and anxiety. It works. Yeah, it works well with emotional issues too. And a lot of people after they do Reiki, they say that they feel very relaxed and they can sleep very well. So I'm offering distance Reiki session, $30 at $30 for 60-minute session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I see that here. That's really nice. Yeah, social distancing special, $30 for 60 minutes. Distance Reiki session.
Yeah, and good thing about distance Reiki is you can just stay home. You can just lay down on your bed comfortably, you know, and I can send Reiki energy remotely. So this is very convenient way to have stress relief.
Yeah, and you can feel it too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, ask Overprotected Sherry about it. Yeah, she almost said it felt almost more powerful at a distance than in person.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I've done distance Reiki to my family in Japan. People all around this country, you know, in Canada too. And it's very amazing how it works. Yeah, and I can even send Reiki energy that's like in advance, like 2 hours in advance to my sister in Japan, and then she received it at the appointment time 2 hours later.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So it works like this. So it's kind of hard to comprehend, but I guess once you experience it, you would truly understand, you know, that it really works.
Yeah, it is one of those things that you have to experience, and then you realize how cool it is. But what I really liked about the way you do it is you actually connect and you will get visions and stuff. That's actually that picture you drew that you created was because while you were connected in the Reiki session, you got some visions and you were actually able to translate it into art, which was really cool. So tell people about how your way of doing the Reiki is a little bit different.
Not only Reiki works not only with physical issues, it works with physical issues, mental issues, and spiritual issues. And sometimes I get connected to recipient higher self or astral plane or something. So I get visions. I can see people's higher self, or I at the end of the session, I always ask their higher self if there's any message to the recipient. And I often get, you know, messages, very, very helpful messages. If there's any health issue or something, they will give advice like you should eat this, you should eat more vegetable, you should eat turmeric. The other day I was told this person should eat turmeric. So it's a very specific message.
Wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
And I see a lot of vision, and sometimes it's like when I did Reiki for you, it was very amazing. I saw this blue skin, ancient Egyptian pharaoh looking being, right?
Right.
And I'm not thinking about those beings at all, but it just pops up in my mind.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and each session is different, so I never know what will come up.
Yeah, you just never know. That's where the intuition comes in.
So my Reiki session is not just energy healing, but also energy reading.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, awesome, you guys. So if you ever wanted to get Reiki, if you ever wanted to try it out, now would be a great time because you can get $30 for 60 minutes, right?
And I always write a report by email, what I saw, what I was heard, and if there's any reference I can get online. Like, it's hard to explain things in words, so sometimes I would draw a picture and attach it, or if I get a reference online, I would send attachment so you can visually see what I saw.
Beautiful. It's so wonderful having all these wonderful, talented people with gifts coming online. Have you noticed an increase in your gifts and your third eye opening lately, Atsuko?
Oh, yes. When I meditate, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, not so fancy Nancy and other people, we started doing group meditation, daily group meditation at 5:55 p.m. at local time. We are all spread out, so we figured that we can just do it at 5:55 p.m. at our local time, because there's no time and space if we work out. So I started doing daily meditation, and it's pretty powerful. I often get download in my head through my crown chakra, and I have so much pressure. Yeah, I feel so much pressure in my head, and sometimes I, like the other time I was woken up, I would feel so hot in my head, and I would sweat. Yeah, and sometimes I feel pain in my right eye. Or that's right. After April 4th, Global Meditation Day, I did meditation, several meditation all through the day. On that day, and I think it started on that day. I often have twitching on my right under my right eye. It twitches a lot.
Yeah, I've been getting that
Something
too.
is happening. Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah, the twitching in the face. I don't know what, around the eye. I think it's on the left side usually.
Oh, really? I'm on my right side.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of pressure moving in my head. And sometimes I feel pain in my body here and there, and sometimes I feel my feet vibrating, all different kinds of body part vibrating. So it is very, very powerful now compared to a few months ago.
Yeah, very much so. I've been noticing it too. I've been getting all sorts of little downloads, and ever since I had the Fairies of the Universe come through in that session the other day, they keep coming through here and there. And it's, and I have to laugh, because I'm telling my son, and I know how funny it sounds, Fairies of the Universe. Come on, it sounds so funny, But, yeah, it's real.
So cute.
It's so real. Yeah, I was actually thinking that if my 20-year-old self could hear me now, man, he would just think I lost it, Think I went insane. But yeah, it's wonderful times being together here.
Yeah, I always, all my life, I always wanted to know, how life started, how universe was created, and how reincarnation works, and all that. I was always curious about a lot of things. So I really loved sci-fi movies. My favorite also is Philip K. Dick, and I'm a Star Wars nerd.
Yeah.
So coming from that, this reality right now is not that it's not that different from what's written in the books and movies.
Right. Yeah, I love.
Like, oh, all those movies are real.
Yeah. Yeah, he was noticing that stuff a while back. So you guys, if you go to her actual website that she put in the the link, you can contact her through there. Actually, her number and email address is at the top of that website. The one that Sarah just pasted in there again. Okay, so thank you, moderators, for helping me out there. Okay, so I got people that's possibly wanting to contact you, which is a wonderful idea, especially now.
Yes, thank you.
So I would like
Yeah,
to, I being that you're in California, I thought it was worse there than everywhere else, but you haven't really seen much action. It's just nothing much going on, huh? Much going. Is there not a lot going on? Like, have you seen any sick people, or do you know anybody that got sick or anything?
Oh, I'm staying home.
Right.
So I'm not. I haven't seen anything.
You haven't been out looking for sick people?
No, I'm how do I say? I don't want to cause any trouble.
Right.
I'm
I
just
feel
staying home. Just meditating, making Jersey.
I think some people are leaving more than usual, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just excited about. I'm just excited about all of this coming to. There's so many exciting things to think about now. I'm not going to let any of that other stuff get me down.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I'm more interested a little bit, but I worked on this spiritual journey. No, how do I say? I try to advance in spiritual world little by little. So if I feel a little bit worried, I can quickly come back from it. Now I can come back pretty quickly.
Right.
It took a while. It took a few years to come to this point, but now I can really come back to the positive status quickly. Yeah.
That's cool.
And I really want to increase vibration and give good energy to people around me and Earth and everything, all entities around us. Yeah,
Absolutely.
We are all in this together, and I have 100% trust that everything will turn out, beautifully.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
When I meditated, when I had my spiritual awakening, that was only like two years ago. 2 years ago. When I had my spiritual awakening, I started meditating, and I saw in my vision, in my eyes vision, beautiful, beautiful new earth with vibrant colors of flowers, ocean, and everything was so beautiful. And I was riding on a dragon. I was riding on the dragon and flying over beautiful mountains and ocean.
It's beautiful.
I saw it. So, yeah, I think I just need to, there are so many things, so many chaos going around, but it's very important for me to keep focused. Create beautiful world in my mind, and it will ultimately create, collective beautiful world. So I try to be focused as much as possible, even though something bad might happen, but I can quickly come back to peaceful place right now. Yeah.
Yep, and that's what meditating and conscious breathing has really helped me a lot with, because as you get triggered throughout the day, the moment you notice it, you take that deep breath and center yourself again, and it really doesn't take long. You can train yourself to get right back into that higher vibrational state.
Before, like two years ago, it would take a day. If I'm in a depressive mode or something, it would take a day to come back up, right? But now it only takes maybe a few minutes.
Yep.
So as I work more and more, it gets easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's just training yourself, making a habit of not responding a certain way, or breaking the habit of quickly responding out of anger or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome, Atsuko. Thank you so much for calling in. It was so wonderful to catch up with you and to hear your voice.
Yes, it was my first time calling.
Really? It seems like you called in before, but I guess it was just you and
No.
Megan came on with Sherry and I, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in Sedona, we got to go to the little, I don't know, that sherbet place. What's that stuff called again? It's not sherbet. It's called something else.
Gelato.
Yeah.
Gelato.
Yep. Then we got to do a little, we got to see that ginormous bug outside, and that was fun.
Oh. And after I took 2 pictures of the beetle, beautiful silver beetle, scarab beetle, and in between those 2 pictures, there was a picture of light.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. That was really cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, so magical.
When I saw the picture, I felt energy coming from the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's some kind of being.
Yeah, I think I've noticed that a lot when we get together, stuff like that happens, magical stuff. Whenever people in our group get together, it seems to really increase the magical stuff happening. You know?
Yes.
Very cool, very synchronistic.
I can literally feel vibration in my head.
Yeah.
When I'm very close to people like you, and people in this group, I can feel it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
definitely.
It's kind of dizzy.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's such a blessing to have all of you guys and to have you, Atsuko, especially with your wonderful gifts. And I hope people will take advantage of your $30 special. Definitely worth every penny.
Yes. I hope so.
Very cool.
Thank you so much.
No problem, Atsuko.
It was nerve-wracking at first, but it was fun.
You did perfect, and you can come back and do it again. Now you see how easy it is, right?
At first, I was like, my feet, not feet, my hands were cold, like, it's nerve-wracking. But, as I was talking, it felt like there's only you and me talking.
Right, yep.
So I got better, yeah.
Well, perfect. Thanks for being brave and coming on here, Atsuko.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, lots of love to you. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence. All right, we're going to go back to the phone line, 661 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hi, Shane. It's Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. How are you? I'm
good. I heard you asking for information about California, and, I'm here, too. I don't know if I shared with you last time when I hijacked the end of your show with Raleigh. Which was, it was. I won't do that to you again. But
no, it was fine. It was fun.
Article. It was fun, but yeah, there was an article that's been out. California has been deemed with herd immunity, so anybody can look that up. And I didn't like the terminology herd, like cattle. But,
right.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but it was a little over a month. I mean, right when this was all, culminating and they made it a complete shutdown, that California actually took the ventilators that they had and started donating them to other states because they thought, we had plenty, and we didn't have the outbreak pandemic as it was put through the simulator and how it was going to spread like wildfire. So California donated, I think, around 500 of their ventilators to other states, into their hospitals or wherever they would need them. So, of course, then shortly, it was maybe a week later, an article came out about California with having herd immunity. And they stated that this specific virus passed through maybe October or November, and immunity has already been, the antibodies are already in our system. Therefore, that's why we don't have the outbreak. Yeah, and my doctor himself, he said he hasn't, and he owns both sides. He's got like a family practice. My dog. My doctor owns both sides, and he has a family practice on one side, and there's like 4 or 5 doctors over there, and then he's got a separate side that's just for him and his patients, and urgent care. So with all of those, he has not had yet not one case of a positive, come back positive for the virus. Well, then the tests became very short in supply, so they really didn't even have the tests anymore to be able to confirm a positive for it, which was very frustrating. So he said that they got some documents, and it was like a 7-page document that even if they're symptomatic, that to go ahead and put that as the diagnosis, and he was not happy about that because doctors like tests. They like facts. Just like the test for this virus is similar to like a strep throat test where they stick that cotton swab, whatever, and they like gag you with it, getting a swab of the back of your throat. Well, they go up the nose for this virus, with the same thing, but they just didn't have enough tests to be able to confirm or deny. Another thing that's really important that people, need to look at, facts go a long way, but this was put into a simulator at, I think it was London University, and without knowing how it's contracted or passed through people, or they put this information into this simulator, and these are people that do like statistics, and they're supposed to know what they're doing. Well, come to find out, they are so far off with the numbers, saying that at the peak we would have, I think, 140,000 on respirators all at the same time.
Wow.
And that's just not happening. And I have to say that people like you, or that are in this group, where we realize that reality is fluid, and that based on the frequency and energy that we put out is what will reflect back. So with so many people being self-aware and conscious, we're like almost like in combat, but not a combat of, fighting with flesh and blood and things like that, but we're creating a place of beauty and plenty and equality and unconditional love.
And
there
are intentions.
It counterbalances what this anarchy, fear paradigm is that they're trying. So, of course, they'll put this stuff out into the news. It's almost like, oh, wait, they gave away a bunch of their respirators, and okay, we got to put out another story. Oh, they've got herd immunity. You know what I mean? They're going to still try to cover it up in some way, when really it's people that know better, that have taken the time, did the self-evaluation, have awakened within, and are actually creating something completely different than what they are wanting us to group create for those who don't quite understand or understand what's going on within them.
Well, what do you think's going on then with this whole thing? Do you think, because I kind of thought at first, I'm like, if what people are saying about them blowing this out of proportion is true, they can just say that, hey, our efforts to stay home, it worked out really well. But you're saying they actually are saying that there's this herd immunity that's going on out in the California area. Is this a local story? I mean, has anyone in the chat heard this story because I don't watch the news, so I don't know. Is this, I've seen a few of the briefings. Either. So I don't know. Is it just a local thing or is it on the national news? Do you know?
No, I had to look it up, just do a little research, and I used Bing and then California immunity, and then you should find the articles on it. But it was after California gave away the respirators. Now, given the respirators to the different states, they gave over 500 of them. Mm-hmm. They couldn't cover that up, so they had to put out something that would say why we didn't need them.
All right.
You know, as California is like New York, and now they're actually there's stories. I think it came out on Fox. Mm-hmm. I'll share the link for that in the chat if you want me to. Okay. About the not even needing the Comforter or the Mercy ships, you know, for this pandemic or whatever we're supposed to. Now, I lean towards the Dolores Cannon, the separation of the Earths, or, you know, I know I don't always agree with everything that everybody says, but there are certain things that resonate, and I think with what we know and the things that we're able to do and see and the understanding that we have, that it is culminating. But that's what it's, and that's what's been going on lately when I go into prayer meditation, that I'm seeing like a separation between the wheat and the tares. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, what we would think of like an NPC, you know, somebody that just watches the news and acts out on what they're told instead of taking it to themselves and finding out the truth, that they may have their dominant conscious in another realm, or, you know, because I think there's multiple realms, multiple layers. I've been calling it a hypercube, but hypercube isn't quite what I'm trying to, doesn't quite describe it. It's the simplest way to describe it, like a Rubik's Cube, where it's constantly in motion, and where you're resonating at, you'll move into a different block, or that you don't see white walls or anything. You actually see the world around you, and then as you're ready, you'll move on to another, but there's infinite possibilities, more like the flower of life, but stacking. Let's say I've got 70 people that, you know, some of them are huge role players in my life, and others are people that I meet along the way. And then those 70 have 70, and then 70 and 70. But it's also, it doesn't just go flat like a timeline. Mm-hmm. It goes, it can loop horizontal and vertically. So it's an infinite amount of possibilities and probabilities. Mm-hmm. So with people with the understanding that this place is fluid, with the Mandela effect and all of these things that have manifested for us with eyes to see, gives us a better understanding. So when they're putting out certain information, we know where to put our attention to allow our energy to flow and create.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. It's this hypercube. It's just, for lack of a better term, everybody has a part in it, and we all, you know, with our sovereignty and free will, we help to manifest. So I lean towards the Dolores Cannon, the Earth's splitting, and it's based on your choice. You know, you have the choice to stay in the old paradigm or move into the new. And they've already started using that term, that this is the new, the new way, or the, oh my gosh, I'm going to do a live stream here in a little bit, but let me let me get the title of it. It's the new normal. I'm sorry, the new normal. Which their new normal is going to have everybody staring into televisions or computers for information, and which we use as a tool of positivity. It's also used in the other way of, controlling people instead of looking around what's going on around you as a reflection of what's going on inside of you. You're always looking at a screen for all the answers. So with the homeschooling stuff, they're trying to get all the kids, using the computer screens for their education now, using, instead of contact with one another. So there's, they're really throwing everything at us at the same time.
Yeah.
But those who are able, we're pushing back, and that may be why they're throwing so much and so many different aspects at the same time, because we're pushing back, but in a peaceful way.
Yeah. Exciting
And-
time.
and-
So you're not fearful, are you? You sound like you're prepared for this shift.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh, no. No, there's nothing to fear, because you're going to go where it is that you, as a sovereign choice, free will person, you're going to go where you want to go. And that's what people need to understand is we're making our choices. And the more that you're aware of how this realm and how it's fluid, and like I said, the Mandela effect was a huge revelation that things can change. It's fluid, nothing is set, that we have choice here. More than people, they think that we are subjected to what is going on around us, when it's actually opposite.
Right.
We can create something completely peaceful and beautiful without having any fear. There's nothing to fear.
Right.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Well, we die. Well, we all die, but that's because it's not like dying. We move on. We go on. We're going to move on to another realm or another. It's like leveling up, graduation. We come out of the duality with what we've learned, and then we move on into another. Not like we're going to die. You can't kill energy. Energy is constant. So.
But there's so much. Well, you know this, but there's so much religious programming still. People afraid that God's going to torture them forever and ever and ever. I thought that for years. It made complete sense. It wasn't until I sort of got away from that, and I looked back and I thought, well, I would certainly never do that to my kid, and I'm not better than God. So it's pretty simple when you look at it, But
yes, you're right. And the Bible says, "Judge not, lest you be judged." So if you're running around and
I used to anyway.
Well, if you're going to do this, you're going to go to hell. You're actually judging yourself.
Yeah.
So I was brought up with the same conditioning and programming that you were. Yeah. It's a matter of breaking out of that programming and finding the truth, and the truth is within you. And, through meditation. I call prayer when I'm actually talking, and then meditation when I'm listening.
Right.
And, you get the best information is going to come from within you, within your heart. And then you get your heart and your mind in a oneness, and then you begin to manifest that around you. So some people are seeing scary things.
Mm-hmm.
Other people are walking through this in total peace,
knowing
that there's abundance, because we're not creating lack. That's at least that's not in what I'm praying on and meditating on. There's no lack.
Right.
Unconditional love and forgiveness for everyone, regardless of where you're at. There is no higher than or lower than people. There's just people with lack of knowledge, and people that have that understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I think everybody will come to that understanding, because they're doing too much right now, and they're revealing themselves. And like I said, the University of London was the talking heads that did the simulation on the projections of what was going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and they are so far wrong with their projections and what this actually has created. It's 14,400 respirators, and that's including the ones that are in intensive care units already, that will be in use, but not all at the same time. But that all of these orders for these, oh my God, what did they want? 40,000 for New York alone. Now even New York has stepped up and said they don't need them. They do not need them. So if you don't mind, I will put that article. It is from an actual news broadcast, but at some point,
that's interesting, because I haven't heard about that. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to start, revealing the truth, because people are seeing it. I don't know anybody sick with it. Do you?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah,
it's always somebody I know knows. But
right,
Wanda, I think Wanda said her son had it, and he healed up from it. And there was another viewer. It was it Alva or Maria? One of those two. Their nephew had it and got over it. So nothing serious.
It's just a common cold.
Yeah, nothing serious. Even from the people that said they've had it, they just recovered. It wasn't anything too serious, from what I've heard. Now, my sister says she knows somebody who, she knows people in New York because her husband's from there, and she lived there for a few years or whatever. And she says she knows 10 people that have died from it. Now, I don't know though.
Yeah. There's no way to verify that, but also we know that we can manifest that if you listen to that, and that's what you're feeding yourself, that's what you're feeding your soul, then you can actually self-fulfill prophecy into yourself by believing that in your heart and in your mind. You can manifest that within your body. We know that we need to talk to ourselves in our body. We need to, always be giving affirmations to ourselves to stay healthy, and stop listening to the talking heads and listen to what our body is telling us.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dolores talked about that kind of stuff too, or may have been somebody else, but I'm thinking Dolores pretty much covered a lot of different bases.
Oh yeah.
But the one that the one that I'm thinking about the most now is the splitting, the separation, and it's really plain to see by who is wearing a mask and ran out and hoarded, or did this panic based on something that was put on their television set, rather than looking around them to see what was really going on, and then making their decisions from that. They listened to the television and reacted.
I don't know. I think we're going to be surprised, because there's a good part of the population that once the majority kind of flips, the other people are good people, they're loving people, they're just asleep. They're very unconscious still. They have no idea what's going on. They're just trying to support their family, but they're good, hardworking Americans that not just Americans, but people all over the world, that are just good, loving people. They just, they're just trying to be good. You know what I mean? They're just trying to work and pay their taxes and not, they haven't really looked into anything, But from what the sessions I've had says is, it's like whatever, it's not even so much people choose what they want, it's just whatever they're resonating at. So if they're resonating at more of a love frequency, a loving frequency, they can be completely unconscious and still go. I mean, it really is what their core frequency is, not so much, how awake they are and aware they are. that's going to affect
Yes.
their experience of it. You know, they're going to have a lot more fear going through it. Like if somebody's super loving and they're on the way to 5D, but they have no idea what the heck's going on, they're going to have a rough ride because they don't know. They don't realize this is all supposed to be happening, and it's just craziness to them. You know what I mean? But for someone else who is
That's
awake,
what I was saying. That there's not a higher than or less than. It's just
Right.
a lack of knowledge. It's just as simple as that.
yeah,
So it's not no. I don't look at people as the ones that are panicking and stuff. Actually, I put them in my prayer and meditation that they will see the truth. They will look around them and see the proof of what their heart is reflecting around them. Even if they're not consciously aware, they're still going to see blue skies. They're going to see friendly people. They're going to experience what is coming from their heart. Now, when you get to, realize that your heart, you can get your mind and, have seen the Mandela effect, and many of these things manifest within our lifetime, which is amazing. Who would have thought that this would happen during our lifetime in such a manner? I didn't. I sure didn't.
No.
But then you realize at that point, wait, I have a say-so in what's going on around me, and then they go into that. But that doesn't negate that their good-natured heart is not already reflecting that around them in their daily life. So that's why I said there's no higher than or lower than. I do think that at even subconscious or deeply, where we're on autopilot, we'll still have the choice. That doesn't mean that the people with a good heart are going to split off to the other world. It's just, I just remembered Dolores talking about the separation of the two earths.
like a dividing of a cell.
Yeah, and so it doesn't mean that they're not going to move along. No. I really think that would be people that have a hardened heart, that don't even have the basic understanding of what love truly is and how many different types of love there actually is.
Well, there you go. That was sort of what I was trying to get out of that session, and I didn't get a really clear answer. I did get that there's going to be unity through the separation because there's such a great contrast between those who really are loving type people and those who are just so hell-bent on service to self, and there needs to be a split because we can't unify with the contrast. But if we do the split, it's, and it's not like they go to hell forever or anything. They're going to play out whatever their journey is, and they'll end up there someday, It's not like, it's almost like, that's why I think school is a really good analogy, because we're all here to learn a lesson. We've just had many lives, and some of us have been through more classes than others, and we're just moving on to some other school or something. I don't know. Who knows what's next, you know what I mean? But the thing is, it's like we're all here to learn something, and some of us are ready to graduate, and maybe some of us aren't. Who knows? Who am I to say? I know I want to go.
We show up as like an NPC in their world because we've moved on. We don't exactly disappear on them, but and vice versa.
Right.
So it's really bad to label anybody anything except for to call them the divine being that they are, because all of us come from the one. We all have our sovereignty and our individual experiences, and sometimes they resonate with another. Sometimes they're so different, but they all lead to, what we're learning, what we're experiencing, and how we're growing. And I just really think that the amount of people that are looking around at what the talking heads are saying and are basically, it's not like a argumentative, I don't consent. It's a no. That, then we start to work within our heart to project out so that to hopefully alleviate fear and to allow people to wake up to who they truly are. And that's all it is. They already are this. They're just not aware of it. And then take control of, where they're directing their energy and how they want to manifest themselves in this realm. It's a beautiful thing, but as long as we understand that, it even says in the Bible, we don't fight flesh and blood. It's a spiritual battle, and that's where it is, in the energetic, etheric realm. It is where we are manifesting something that is usurping what they're trying to put out in the 3D worldly type scenario to put people in fear. And when you get people in such a fearful state, critical thinking goes out the window. Then they're just going to listen to what they're told and do what they're told instead of realizing the sovereign divine being that they already are and always will be. But that's what I wanted to share. I'm going to put the link in the chat for it was a Fox News broadcast where basically their hands stuck in the cookie jar, and so they're having to kind of backpedal some of these talking heads of the information that they originally put out because it's not manifesting, and I do think that it has a lot to do with like the people that are in your chat and the people that have even the basic fundamental, even the heart of love. We would never want to see this type of thing happen to our brothers and sisters. So we're protecting that out, and it is making this, although there's still, stay in your house, social distancing, and all of that stuff, in our hearts, we know that's not what we want, and that's not what we're not even meant to do that. We are meant to be close with one another. We're meant to be hugging one another, and that's where we're heading, and that's what we're putting out is love for one another, abundance. There's not any lack. We will make sure of that. Even people with the heart of love and caring for one another, they're still doing that. They're just not doing it knowingly.
Right. Yeah, and I was even shown that. That's so funny that you said that, because I was even shown in that was another little aspect of this, because it really is that whole, like the Law of One teaches, the whole service to self or service to others. And a lot of people that are normally all about service to self with their job and just staying busy all the time they're not so much in fear and staying home because they're scared, but they're staying home so they don't pass it along to someone else, which is a service to others act. You know what I mean? So in many ways, the scales are getting tilted, They're
also, here's the backfire on that. Okay, they keep us so busy that we never had time to even discover ourselves. Well, what a better time for people to introspect and discover themselves than to be at home, not sidetracked with all the busyness of life that I really think is going to backfire, because people are at home now and they are, awakening is what we would call it. Their mind and their heart are coming in alignment, and they're like, what? Wow. Something we went through, a decade or so ago and have moved along. Well, now that they have the time, they're not so busy, and their conscious mind isn't so cluttered with the daily mundane things. They have the time now to awaken within themselves.
All right.
So I always look at the optimistic side. Well, it took a lot of time of introspection. Well, they're giving people the time for introspection.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love it. And stuff's spreading all over Facebook, and stuff is trending and going viral. And even though it might plunge people into some of the more fearful aspects of things or the dirtier sides of things, it's still a huge wake-up call. And that's sort of you got to stir stuff up, and stuff is definitely getting stirred up, don't you think, Michelle?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the videos I did was on viruses, and a virus is a poison in the mind or soul. If we look at, and they're calling it a virus, and even if this was a matrix, or even like think about your computer, whenever it has a virus, it's got a problem. So we're defeating the virus. We're getting rid of the virus in one way or another. They could put it out the way they want to, but those that can understand say, yeah, we've been trying to get rid of that virus for a long time. Let's do it. Time to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
with the people praying and creating, we're making a difference. So, keep moving forward and with love, unconditional love, and taking responsibility for our actions and the repercussions that come from our actions. So then we make better decisions towards our loved ones and other people. It's just the way this is playing out is it's really backfiring on them. Plus, people are like, we're not seeing an outbreak. We don't know anybody that's got this. What's going on? Why do you have us, on house arrest? We're coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get to the point where the government, the governing body, and these talking heads are just going to get pushed out of the way, but it'll be by their own hand that they get pushed out of the way because they pushed people too far on information that was not correct.
Right. But it'll all be revealed.
Yeah.
And it'll be a huge wake-up call.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. And don't be surprised if we have that huge wave. Remember, 2020.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be able to see. So it's an exciting time to be alive. There's no fear, no need for any fear. Take care of you and your loved ones and treasure the time that we have, to spend with them. And just keep on moving through because we're doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
And it's not just one, it's everybody. Everybody working together that has that, has that heart as a basic, and then has their heart and mind and an understanding of pushing back. So no fear. There's no reason for any fear. But, yeah, the article on the false projections and the statistics is the one that I will put in it's actually on news. It was put out on the news. So I'll put that in your chat so people can look at that for themselves and make their determination. But realize, any time that we're looking at news or anything that they're putting out, use discernment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Always use discernment. But I personally didn't like being called herd immunity. I was like, really? But that's not in this article. This one is actually talking about the simulation and the false projections of how this was going to spread and what was going to happen. So the numbers are so grossly off, but you'll see by the article. I think it's Laura Ingram. She does a pretty good job because she backdated like some of these talking heads on what they said on what date and then what they said on another date, and then basically them eating their own words.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty good article.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, put that link in there. I appreciate it, Michelle.
I sure will. And you have a wonderful evening. And I think I'm going to push mine back because my husband just barely woke up until 8 o'clock. So if anybody's around, pop on over. And I will talk to you soon. And I'm always watching and lurking, but I don't always participate in the chat. So
I understand.
I'm still around, Jane.
We'll send you our love, and we'll talk to you later.
I sure will. All right. Take care.
Right. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
I'm going to go back to the phone lines. Let's see, 661. Who am I talking to?
This is Maria.
Maria, how are you? Was that your
I'm good.
nephew? Was that your nephew that had it?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was you or
Yes,
Al.
my husband's nephew. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how complicated
and he
was
was in
his?
the hospital for like 2 days, and
Did he have to get on the breather or anything?
he had. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he had to get on the breather. But
Wow, and
he
how old is
recovered
he?
so quickly. Plus, I guess 30. He's in his early 30s. I think like 33, 34.
Was he a smoker?
No, he has compromised immune system from a previous illness.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I just
But he
haven't
lived.
seen many people. Like T. Taylor was saying, people were saying it's not real. I think they're just blowing it out of proportion, bigger than what it actually is. I think there's something going on for sure, but it's just I'm not seeing the. I don't know. I'm not seeing the numbers, so I'm not saying it's not happening, and that there won't be some suffering through this transition. There's always some sacrifice that has to be made, but I can tell you this: no one's going to get taken out if it wasn't their time. So if someone is succumbs to this or whatever, then it was their time. It was part of the plan, and they agreed to do this. I really believe that.
I totally agree with you. Totally. You know, all this is happening for a reason. We all know that.
Yeah.
These major changes are happening this year. I mean, huge changes.
Mm-hmm.
And we can already see the changes, how the stores adapted.
Right.
And I think, you know, they did pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
They were pretty organized. They did pretty good. But now we have all the little stores we have in our little town all have signs up now saying you must wear a mask. So no one's allowed to even step in. So not everybody can get masks, you know. So people are tying T-shirts, you know, and I haven't seen any feminine products on anybody, but I've seen those pictures.
The pictures, yeah.
So as long as your mouth and your nose is covered, you know, you can go into the store with a ski mask. You know,
Right.
I'm just laughing because I only go out to town once a week, my husband and I, and it's just funny to see how people are reacting. There's some that are so calm, and they're just going with it, and there's others that are so agitated.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to wait in line outside. Just, you know, these people are getting angry.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm
I've seen two
feeling
people like
they're
yelling in
getting
parking
angrier.
lots and stuff, you know, just lost it and yelling at one was yelling at, I don't know if it was a stranger at the bus stop, another one was yelling at their spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, you know. So and people, you know, just within a few days, I'm like, man, some people are losing their mind, it seems like. But for the most part, it could be a lot worse. I mean, it hasn't been, you know, too crazy.
No, it hasn't been too crazy, but I'm feeling like a buildup.
Yeah.
People can only take so much. They can only do this for so long. And I noticed that the people, my neighbors, they had a little get-together last night.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, it's cool, let's get together. So they were having a little barbecue in the front yard. And I'm in my garage hanging out, playing cards, and I can hear them having a good time, and I was happy for them because, you know, we're social creatures.
Right.
So, yeah, they're going against the law, but it was cool. But then I got the sense that not everybody's going to think that's cool. Somebody's going to call the cops on them, and sure enough,
really,
the police showed up. And they dismantled it right away. I heard everybody's cars, doors started opening, slamming, and cars starting up and taking out. There was about 4 vehicles that left. And the boom, boom music stopped, and everything went quiet. And I heard the engine running for another 10 minutes, and then he drove off. So, yeah, I mean, people are snitching on each other because, I mean, they're not harming us. We live in a rural area.
Right.
Our houses are spaced apart, and they're not harming any of us. I'm like, what's the big deal? They're just having a barbecue outside.
Right.
But that's the way things are. There's changes now. It's like some people
really take this seriously, and they will start snitching on each other. And there's others that are just going with the flow and just abiding by, the. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, my observation over the last few weeks of just how people are, the people that sort of disregard what they're saying, and then the people who are trying to do what's right, but they're still doing stuff that's really, they might as well, like, they'll put their gloves on and then, like, touch on their cup and then take their gloves off and then touch all over their cup, and they're using their phone, and I'm like, there's people that's trying to do what's right, but they just don't know what they're doing. They haven't really thought it through, I guess. They just feel like, I've got gloves on, I'm safe, and then, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. And then the people disregard it, and it's like, dude, we don't have a chance if this is as bad as they say it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to sound negative, but I'm just saying that people are just going to spread it. I mean, it's going to spread if it's as contagious as they say,
Right.
But I don't think it's anything to really worry about. I say, you'll be protected. If it's not part of your plan, then you're not going to die from it.
Well, I ain't worried about it. It's not in my reality, except for my nephew. But I hardly ever see him, so it's not in my reality. And I really believe we all had it here in the house. So I swear, in January we got so sick. We were sick for like almost a month in bed. I mean, it was horrible. Couldn't breathe. My grandson has asthma, and I almost took him to the ER, but I just stayed with him and given him his treatments, his breathing treatments on my own. We got through it, without having to go to the ER. And this is before they started announcing the coronavirus. And it's like, I think it was already here.
Right.
I don't know. But it was the worst flu I ever had. And I've been here 53 years. Shoot.
Wow.
But anyways, I wanted to tell you guys something. I don't know if anybody listening now and later, did you guys look up in the sky last night and see, well, I'm over here in California. A lot of Californians calling today, huh?
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Okay, last night it was just before 9 o'clock last night. I went outside to see what my husband was doing, and he was, we have a playroom where we play music and stuff, and he was hanging out in there, and I was going to go hang out with him. And I looked up, because we're always looking up. So I looked up, and I go, oh, look, a satellite right above us. And it was moving northeast. And then I'm like, wow, that's a big one. It's really bright. And then my husband says, oh, look, there's another one. And right behind it was another one. And I'm like, oh. But it wasn't, like, directly behind it, but it was coming up behind it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, 2 satellites going the same direction. What are the odds? And then, boom, look, there's another one. There was 3.
Oh, wow.
And I go, holy shit, what is that? And then my husband goes, look, there's 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, oh, no, this is not normal. I'm like, go get our son. Our son, he's looking up to the skies a lot too lately. He came out. He couldn't see, but we could see it. He couldn't see it, because he was gaming. He said his eyes were I think because he was gaming.
Yeah,
his eyes couldn't
weren't
adjust.
adjusted. Yeah.
And then he goes, well, maybe it's Starlink. And I go, Starlink? I thought Starlink was only visible in the northern areas, like northern, like Washington, Idaho, Montana. But maybe they launched new ones.
What's Starlink?
They're in a different. You don't know what Starlink is? It's the satellites that they're launching. Elon Musk.
Oh, okay. I just
satellite.
Well, I knew he was launching a bunch of satellites. I didn't know of it as that name, though. Starlink. So that's the separate grid that they're putting up of satellites?
I think it's another grid because, well...
I think I'd heard about a separate grid. Maybe they're calling it.
Yeah, because we saw a total... In 10 minutes, we saw 12 go by.
Yeah.
And they weren't in a row. They were, in different spaces. Like maybe they're moving into their grid points. I don't know.
Right.
But now people are saying they're seeing them all over the world now. I mean, they're seeing them, these rows and rows of these satellites going by, and it's so bizarre because we've never seen anything like that in this lifetime. So all this new stuff that's happening in the past few months, it's just escalating. Everything's changing around us. It's
So it looked like a satellite, though.
exciting,
It looked
though.
like it looked like a
They
moving
look like
star,
satellites.
like a moving star, a
Yeah.
fast moving star. Okay.
Right. And they didn't sway from their formation. They didn't like spread out more or move in another direction. They didn't. They just stayed in the same path like a satellite would.
Right.
So, but I thought it was awesome. But I was like, maybe, oh, they're galactics. They're galactics. I was going like that, but my heart told me no, they weren't. They were satellites. So I'm just wondering if anybody else has been seeing them in your hemisphere area.
No, well, I haven't, but yeah, I've been looking up at the sky quite a bit too. What time was it around?
It was around 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
And it was going. They were moving northeast direction.
Okay.
And I saw about
probably
12, but I don't know.
Oh, it ended up being like 12 of them?
I saw about 12 of them. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was neat. It was really neat. I mean, it's like never in my life have I ever seen that. But my son in meditation, he told me that he got a message. He was told to look to the skies this summer. So I'm just putting it out
nice.
there.
Yeah. My son
Yeah,
actually saw a comet in his head. It was like I don't know, it was like a month and a half ago maybe or something, and it was actually, the way he described it, I thought it was an asteroid, and then my wife looked up on her phone, and 5 hours earlier they had like announced that they saw some asteroid kind of pass by Earth or something. So I thought it was that, and then I thought, wow, I wonder if he was seeing this comet Atlas that's coming this way or something, because it looked like he just saw it in his mind's eye. So I thought that was interesting, because he's been having little things turn on too. Like he saw some shadow figures that he thinks was his little nephew when he was like maybe walking around in his sleep. His shadow body or his etheric body. It wasn't scary to him though, but he's been seeing stuff, and stuff in the sky, orbs in the sky and stuff. So it's really cool to see things getting turned on for him, and then being able to explain it, and it's just an exciting time.
I know that if you continuously raise your vibrations, and let go of the densities that need to be released, then you'll be vibrating in a state where those abilities are strongest, and they start just clicking back on.
Yeah.
But you got to be at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. Same way with the intuition.
This is everything's coming online. This is we're returning back to our natural state, with all our DNA strands and everything, with all our 100% functioning, with all our abilities. But what we were meant to have, and what the Earthlings lived, to be 900, almost 1,000 years back in the olden days. So we could probably live for long periods of time too, if we choose to.
Right.
I mean, after we shift,
Right. Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah. Definitely.
And who was the caller that was talking about glimpsing? Oh, was it Asuko, or about glimpsing the new Earth?
Oh, yep.
About how beautiful it was and vibrant.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, okay, I'm a medium, and when I do readings for people, I've been tapping into lately a lot of their past lives, and they're not really past lives. It's like an aspect of another aspect of their soul, living another life in another timeline or however you want to put it, because it's so complicated to explain it. And then I'm witnessing the merging of these other lives merging with the soul of this person, that client.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is about, but this is what I was told too, that we're all our oversouls are bringing all our aspects to reunite us all as one with our higher self. We're becoming our higher self, basically.
Right.
And all our fractals are returning to become one. It's I don't know, was that too woo-woo?
No, we're moving our awareness to that. That's more of our higher self. That's exactly right. And as we do that, then it's all of those lives that we weren't consciously part of, but our higher self was. It's like it starts to merge back into who we are. Or we're really just broadening our awareness to become more aware of those other ones. It's wild.
Last week, before the phone hung up, my phone dropped.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you about an experience that I had, and it was a trip, so I just wanted to share it.
Yeah.
Because the end of December and January and February were like the 3 darkest months that I've had in the longest time. And I thought I was coming out of all that darkness, right? I thought I was like free from all that, but then more stuff starts coming up. But at the end of the year, I was feeling the collective. I was feeling a lot of purging going on, a lot of deep soul purging that was going on. I think it was a collective thing. I was picking up on that.
Yeah.
And I was doing some purging too, changes, shifting. My guides were urging me to make these different choices that I just made. And I was feeling unsure of the new year, even though I was excited for 2020 because I was getting a lot of messages about 2020 while I'm talking to my clients. You know, messages were coming through their guides. So I was feeling done. I was tired of the emotions. I was having bad luck after bad luck. Bad luck just kept following me. I don't know, I was walking around with this big-ass gray cloud over me, just raining on me. I'm like, what the hell? So I prayed.
Yeah.
And I called my guides, and I told them, listen, I'm feeling really low. I'm like, you guys got to get me out of here. I just want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore. I want out of here. And then that was that. The next day, a video popped up on my YouTube feed, and it was about quantum jumping. And it was, and I know that the person that I knew, it was Cynthia Sue Larson.
Right.
One of her videos popped up, and I'm like, so I listened to it, and I've been hearing about this for a couple of years already, and I think it's fascinating. And I'm like I know most of you guys into sci-fi and, you know, Star Trek, Star Wars, anything sci-fi, and these concepts that we would learn, you know, they were neat, but it's not real. It's like what Stu was saying. But she started, you know, we all know Cynthia. So anyways, so listening to the video, it gave me some glimmer of hope. You know, I started to feel like maybe I'm not so depressed after all. And then the next day, I received another video from someone else, Kimberly Lynn Hansen. And she had the same type of message. I just can't remember what the video was, but how we create our reality in our quantum field. And listening to that made me feel like anything is possible. And that understanding pulled me out of my funk, you know, a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then the following day, and you mentioned her name a couple of weeks ago, or last week. Hold on. It's funny how we're all connected. Okay, yeah. So the following day, I was still lingering in the lower vibrational field, but the third video that popped up on my feed really opened my eyes, and it was Marina Jacoby. And she was being interviewed on the Moore Show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess he interviews channelers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I've heard of her before, but I didn't really know about her.
Right.
So it was
Is she a
an
channeler?
interview. Yeah, she's a channeler. So
oh, okay.
She, you mentioned her name. She talks about the quantum field.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I've seen some of her videos, but I don't watch her close enough to know that she channels or anything. I haven't seen her do any channeling.
Yeah. Okay, so this particular video, I think I got another up-leveling or something. Something happened to me, dude. So I'm listening to her interview, and she went into a channeling, and the guy was interviewing, and she was channeling the Council of Nine. And while I was listening, I don't even remember what they said, but I was listening, and all of a sudden a sensation of powerful energy came over me, and a huge column of white light just flooded my crown chakra, and it caused me to get really dizzy. And I had to just fall forward and hold myself up on my table. And I was just kind of like lying on my table, with just my head down, spinning like, oh my God, I was so dizzy. And my eyes, I had to keep them closed because it was almost a violent, intense vertigo. I was shaking like I was having a seizure. And then while that was happening to me, I heard the interviewer ask the Council of Nine how this transmission would affect people listening to it now. Some people who are ready to hear it, I don't know. And they said that listeners may get activations or downloads or something like that, or up levels or something like that. And I'm like, that's what's happening to me right now.
Wow.
And I started to remember something. So, okay, when the energy was coming down, and I was just lying there, I felt my own vibrations start to like rise real quick. Just I went from this lower feeling to like really blissed out. I was so blissed. I was no longer immersed in the painful lower planes. I was elevated quickly. And the download came in so fast, so furious, like a lightning bolt of information.
And that was from the Marina Jacoby video?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got this massive download of remembrance. And I remember, and I just knew with my core, I was remembering our origins and the truth of this holographic reality. And I can't even describe what I saw or knew. It's just a knowing. Yeah. You just know everything. And it's just, there's no words. I know there's a lot of gifted people out there that were able to get this information out and put it out there in layman's terms. I'm not that person. I don't have a scientific mind, but we have our Cynthia, Sue Larsons and our Kimberlys and people out there, and I know there's more being activated now as we speak, and that can explain this kind of stuff to us so we can understand what's happening.
Was it one of her newer videos, or was it the one I mentioned called Quantum Manifestation, or was it a different one? Or I guess they're all called that, it looks like.
It was called, it was, you know what, I'll find it now. It was the Moore Show, Moore.
But it was on her channel, though?
It was on his channel, yeah. The Moore Show.
Oh, okay, it was on his channel. Okay.
Yeah, it was on his channel. And then after that, I started following her. And I started, just following her. I slowed down, I calmed down, watching her. I calmed down from that. But when a couple of days later, okay, after I got all that information that this is a hologram that we're in, it's holographic reality.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what they said. I'm still unpacking it. It's really remembering that this is like a game of life, they said. A place for learning and experiencing, and that we are returning closer to source now.
Yeah.
That's the information I got while So I felt like I was activated and given this huge download. And in the midst of watching this video, that's crazy how that could happen.
Okay, I see there's two that,
And I guess
one from a year ago and one from 2 years ago. The first one says sharing and giving without expectations in return, energy, philanthropy with Marina Jacobi. The other one is Marina Jacobi on parallel realities, law of attraction, and not charging for readings. Was it either one of those
that
two?
one.
That was that one?
I think it was that one. I have to look at my history. I have to look now.
Yeah, it's about an hour long, it looks like.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, well, I'll
I'll
let you know. I
look
can't do things at one time right now.
Okay. No problem. I'll put this one in here and you guys can at least, maybe that's the one you need to see. That's how I look at stuff nowadays. If it's the wrong one, it's the right one for some other reason, right?
It just, he interviews her and she talks about how it all started for her it starts from her history from when she was a kid and how, what kind of life she lived, and then all this started happening to her, and it's pretty fascinating. Then
That's
they come
awesome.
and channel, and then she channels them. It's but I really can't remember what they even said.
That's really cool, though. I get to hear a little bit more about her that I probably wouldn't hear on her own channel then, it sounds like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sounds like they talk more of an interview about her, huh?
Yes, it was an interview about her, yes.
Yeah,
But then he
that's really
asked the 9 questions about stuff.
Wow, and she's able to just
And,
channel on the spot like that, huh? It's pretty impressive.
She is learning quantum fields through them. They're giving her the information, these council of 9 people.
That is
entities.
so wild.
So because she's not a scientist either.
Right.
She's given the information. So, yeah, it's fascinating. I'm really fascinated with channelers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot more people are going to start doing it. In fact, I was just telling Sherry, I'm like, it's like you're really just channeling, and I'm just kind of helping you do that, because it's so amazing, So I think a lot of more people are going to be, stuff's going to be turning on, and so play with it, you guys. Play with telepathy. I've been noticing some things. I think it was my wife said that, that's like the second time in the last 2 days that you said something I was thinking about, and I was like, wow, really? So was she picking up on me? Was I telling her what I was thinking in my head telepathically? I don't know which way. How do you tell which way it's going? You know what I mean?
Remember I mentioned that last week. I'm like, well, who was the first one to think this?
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. You don't know who picked it up from who.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, And then once you can figure that out, you can play with it. And you're like, well, let me try to send you something else. And why don't you try to send me something? So it's real fun to do that with your kids, too, because they're so intuitive.
It is fun.
Yeah.
They are. I took my grandson was having a meltdown. He's 6 years old, and nothing can calm him down. He was crying for 45 minutes. But then my guides told me that he needs to go in ground. He needs to go earth. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I called him over to me, and I said, let's go outside. So I took him out to the back, and it was a nice sunny day. It was nice. It was a couple of days ago. And was it yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Time. I can't keep track of my days anymore. So I took him out there, and I had him sit on the ground on the patch of grass that grew because we had a week of rain, and we grew some grass. So because we live in a desert, we don't have grass up here. So anyways, he started doing his movements with his hands. I was watching him. He closed his eyes. He already knew. I haven't taught him how to meditate.
Wow.
So he was connecting his thumb and his middle finger on both hands and then placing them facing up on his lap.
Wow.
And then he would move his hands up in the air and do these movements with his fingers, and then he's breathing. And he goes, I know how to do this. And then I started to channel a meditation for him. I don't know. It just came through. And I don't even remember what I said to him. Something about breathing in love and breathing out anger. And some other words came through for him. And in like 5 minutes, he was fine, and he went to go play like nothing ever happened. Like the meltdown was gone. And it went all into the earth. It's beautiful that these kids already know what they're doing.
Yeah,
You just
that is
gotta
awesome.
teach them. Just give them a little nudge, and then boom, they remember.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's fun. So there's a lot of those types of interactions going on now that, you know, what do you got when you just got a bunch of time on your hands for a lot of people that are stuck at home? But, you know, shout out to all those people that are keeping the, I know Joe, Michelle's husband's helping keep the supply chain going. There's tons of cashiers and delivery people and so many people that are still working. And so just trying to be thankful for all those people. Let's see here.
Yeah. My husband's
Alrighty.
still working. So
Oh, what does he do?
he makes some type of vitamins.
Oh, okay.
I
So
don't
has
know
it
what kind of
changed for him? I mean, does he have to work around other people or in close proximity?
They split the crew. They used to do day 10 days, 10-hour days, 4 days a week, and now they split it to 10 hours night shift, 10-hour day shift, and now it's a skeleton crew, and everybody has to wear. Well, they always wore masks anyways, and scrubs because they work in clean rooms and stuff.
Right.
But a lot of people got sick there too, but nobody got tested if it was coronavirus. There was like, I don't know, several people were out sick in his office or his company, but it's a small company.
I started to say, man, it was like that's the kind of place you would think you would not get sick, you know? What are you saying?
I didn't hear you. It's breaking up. That's why I said again.
Oh, it's breaking
What did you
up.
say, Shane?
I was saying that he works in the clean room. You would think that would be a pretty safe place to work, but people got sick, huh?
Yeah, but when you go to lunch or you go to the bathroom or touch a doorknob or you still when you have to walk out of the clean room and go into the normal spots.
Right.
Hey, how come you guys didn't highlight the cute little fairy giggles from Sherry's BQH?
Oh my gosh, that was so cool. She didn't even notice it. I'm like, did you check out? And she's like, no, I didn't see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to check it out. So she went and checked it out, and she heard it too. But yeah, that was so cool. We need to do that on our next video.
Oh, so you guys didn't hear it?
Not until you made that post, no.
Holy crap, because I came on late. I came on right when the BQH was over, and I stayed, and then I rewatched it, and I heard it, and I go, what the hell? So I backed it up, and I'm like, holy crap! And then I wrote down the, the number, and I posted it because when they didn't mention it when they were talking about after the, you guys didn't talk about it. You only highlighted the fairy on her eye. You highlighted that. You talked about that, but I'm like, maybe they didn't hear it.
I'm so glad you said something.
So
I was like, yeah, my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my God, there's it sounded like a little, I don't know, a giggly, playful.
I know, it's like,
yeah.
something like that. It was
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, you guys go check out that video from, trying to think of the name of that one. The one with Dolores Cannon on the thumbnail with Sherry just from a day or so ago. And look in the comments, and Maria, or actually High Vibe in 888, if you click on her timestamp on there, it'll take you right to it. Really neat, though.
Awesome.
I'm so glad you noticed that.
All right.
All right, thank you so much, Maria.
Okay, I'm having a BQH with Ruth on Monday.
Oh yeah, you gotta let us know how that works out. That's awesome.
All right, because I was wondering, because I'm a medium, maybe stuff will come through too. Maybe I don't want no expectations, right, Shane?
Yeah, no expectations.
Yeah,
just trust the process and see what happens, and yeah, just I don't know. I'd say just go with the flow and see what happens.
Go with the flow.
I thought I would go into the somnambulistic
right.
level, but I was like ultra alert the whole time.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was ultra alert. In fact, even more alert than regular being awake. It felt like I was so alert, and stuff came through so clearly, and it was, the pictures weren't as clear as the knowing was. So it worked out really well.
That's
it
your
just wasn't what I
strongest.
expected, you know.
Is this when you were giving her the BQH?
No, this is when I was getting one from Debbie Hazelton.
When you were
actually.
getting one.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was
Awesome.
noticing how you were running the energy when, I was watching you when you were doing the BQH for Sherry, and you just rock back and forth.
Yeah.
It's that rocking. I do that too.
Oh, you
When
do?
when I start to channel for a client, I start doing that. Or when I'm doing the card readings and I go into all of a sudden this energy starts to come down to my crown, and I start to run it by moving. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like you're running the energy and you're keeping your body just does that. Not everybody does, but it's funny how we have to move or something to run the energy. Because if I'm lying, when I do my my travelings, when I go to the multidimensional realms, I can't run the energy like that. I can't really spin or rock because I'm in a lying down position. So I noticed that I start having really severe jolts of running the energy. My legs kick. My hands shake really violently, like I'm having a seizure.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just wondering, is it because I'm not calibrated? My body's not calibrated enough because I'm not eating high vibe enough, and I'm not eating things. The guides tell me what to eat, and I don't listen to them.
Oh.
So maybe that's what they're trying to tell me. Listen, you listen to us because if you want to run the energy better, then you need to stop eating this kind of crap. So, yeah. So that's just advice for everybody else out there, too. Just go with it. When your body tells you or you get this information that from your inside you just know that you need to stop doing a certain thing, is because you're being prepared for something coming, like upgrades and stuff. But you need to release some of this density before you can get the upgrade to move on to the next level. Because it's like we're going up slowly, huh? It's not, like you guys talk about, it's not twinkle of an eye. It's more like slow and torturous. No, I'm kidding. It's not.
It does feel like that sometimes if you're not in the right vibe, that's for sure. That's what I tell people. It's like you almost have to get to the right vibe that's going to cause the shift. And, and that's like the hard part to do. But once you get there, you're okay with the shift not happening because you found your inner peace, But we all still want it.
Right.
But you become, I guess, content, with
but
trusting the plan.
Yeah. And I just realized something. I know we have to strive to keep our vibrations, keep raising them, and then the energies that are coming in are helping. But you know how they say the galactic beings are helping us? And I'm thinking, well, I sent that prayer out, and then 3 days later, I come across this video, and then I got upgraded. And all of a sudden, I'm not depressed anymore, and all that heaviness was gone, and all the bad luck left. And now I just walking around in abundance. I'm walking around in freedom, peace, no more drama in my life. It's all gone. I'm just feeling creative now. I'm just doing a lot of creative things that I've never done before, and I'm like, wow. So this creative energy has come in, and so a lot of us are feeling that. In many ways, it's doesn't have to be, art, music, and you guys talk about this before.
Writing
on your show.
Yeah.
And writing, and I've been doing a lot of writing. All these self BQH, I guess. I call them it's like BQH, but I'm hypnotizing myself.
Right.
And I go in, and then I record my voice and I tell the recording there everything that I see, what I experience, any messages I get, and then I wait 24 hours. I listen to it, and then I dictate it. I type it all up exactly the way I say it, and then I kind of, when I go back in, when I go in to edit it to make it more like proper English, because I don't talk right, so I remember things. I add the details. Well, she was wearing a blue shirt. I just say, oh, there was a lady standing there, and then I go on. But then I go, when I say there's a lady standing there, I describe the lady that I saw, whatever. So it goes into a lot of details, and I just post them on my blog, just posting them for whoever wants to read them. I don't know why I'm doing that. So that's one of the questions I want to ask the guides. That's one of the questions I want to ask them at BQH. Why am I making them public? Why am I typing these up and making them public? I don't know why I'm doing that. So
you should put a link in there. People
urge.
might want to read it. From our community might want to read it. So.
Well, they're in quarantine. Might as well read something, right? No, just kidding. Something to read. Some weird chick out there, these weird beings. No, it's yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, you can. Yeah, and there's a lot of, I have so many of them. I'm backed up.
Yeah.
I'm backed up right now. And sometimes I have to put some aside and work on another one because they're pertaining to what's happening now.
Right.
I'm like, wait. There's a message that just came in, and so I have to put it on hold and go back because I need to get the message out. So,
well, if you ever have anything like that, you should call in and read it to us. That'd be cool.
I know. I said I was going to do that before. I read one of them, but I had just started doing this, and now it's getting more. Now I'm getting more. It's becoming easier. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. I take a few breaths, and bam, there I am. I'm there. It's so easy now. But I have to listen to binary beats and tones. In order to get me in that trance light. So the BQH is going to be different because I'm not going to be hearing tones. I'm going to be listening to, Ruth, her voice, right? I don't know what to expect.
I've had people put on meditation music at the same time, though. So if you find that you need to add that too, you probably can add that to it, have it in the background or something. Just not so loud the recording. Well, you need it coming through your headphones anyway, so.
Yeah, I need it played through my headphones because I can't. I wear headphones that are sound canceling.
Right.
Because if I hear a noise, that's it. I'm out.
No.
And then I need to. I don't know if that's gonna. Because I have a house full of grandchildren.
Right.
So we worked it out. Because we're 3 hours. She's in the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. So I'm like. We both prefer mornings, and mornings would be better for me because the kids are still sleeping. They don't get up early anymore. It's like good sleep. So early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, let's do this. So the kids won't wake up for another 3 hours. So let's do this. So hopefully I'll have a quiet house when it's happening. Because boy, you know what it's like to have screaming grandkids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm finally there. It's great, though.
All right, Shane.
All right, lots of love to you, Maria. Thanks for
go.
calling in. Let us know how the BQH goes.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Bye, guys. See you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Street.
Unbiased and on the fence.
I go back to the phone line. I'm trying to get Maria's name off of there. 720 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Shane. It's Roger.
Hey, Roger. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
That's good. That was a great caller. Was it Maria?
Yeah.
I love the
High
call,
Vibin' 888. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, High Vibin'. Uh-huh.
So what's been going on for you there in Colorado, right?
It is Colorado, yeah. Well, I was working the Uber job. I had to quit it because there's no business because of the lockdown. So that didn't help things. But I have my primary job still going well. So the lockdown here is just interesting to live in Denver and see what it was like as an Uber driver, busy, at big events, so on and so forth, to nothing.
Yeah.
So as far as reality in the 3D, it's pretty interesting what's going on with the virus. Yeah.
Have you been pretty excited though?
I'm extremely excited on the 5D in regards to ascension, new things happening for me as far as filming different things and such. So, yeah, I think it's a real powerful time for people working with the light as I do, and I'm excited. However, I guess there is, me filtering through the news, not the regular news, but alternative news, if you will, on YouTube. And I guess I always had, because I've been busy with this for about 8 years now, so it's been a long time. And I keep thinking that some miracle will occur, and we won't be seeing the outcome of this financial disaster that they have set us up for. I mean, the whole thing was a scam to create $10 trillion to be produced to central banks and holding up the stock market in my studies. So I unfortunately do not, if we don't see the light of God come through and all of us blessed as I envision, then we may have to go through this time where you see a lot of people being hurt by the lockdown. And my focus has been really on India, and India having 550 million poverty-stricken people in that country. It's a huge number. So I have been following what's been going on in India, and there are people suffering from the 21-day lockdown that they have in their country. And it's real sad because I think even in my meditation, even on a positive note, that there are souls that are possibly, dying, people dying because of starvation. And that is my biggest concern. I work as a manager at a grocery store, and there we see our supplies are cut in half. So you see this week after week after week, every time we order something, we get half of it. So there are shortages that are being created in my studies on what is happening with the lockdown, creating agriculture and all around the world suffering from the time they plant to the time they're pulling, onions from the field in Florida today. They can't move them because of transport issues and so on and so forth. So unfortunately, I guess I see myself going through like a Great Depression situation for the awakening to really occur. I guess that's kind of what I'm envisioning could happen, So
yeah, I could see it going that far, but I actually don't think we're going to need to. I've been really watching how fast things are moving, how quickly things adapt, even how fast the Earth seems to begin repairing itself. I was hearing reports of the fact that just all the less traffic and the Earth's, and I'm like, this is awesome. It's like for years we were told that we're doing this irreversible damage, and I'm not saying to go on and mistreat the Earth, but that should give us hope that once we treat it right, she'll treat us right. She'll begin to heal herself and prepare herself.
And you're right on the money. Well, that's the whole thing. It is about the planet Earth vibration on the Schumann resonance that you and I go way back, and that was one of the few that we're talking about, the Schumann resonance. So 100% agreed that the planet is healing, if you will. But I guess when I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible, but as far as all of us having to suffer, but I guess what I'm not naive about is there are people suffering around the world right now because of the lockdown and what they're doing, and they're creating a real hyperinflation situation on the financial side in the stock market and in the country. So I don't know. I almost think, is it, I don't know the Bible real well, but I know you do. And is it the tribulations and where you would see this, the death and disease and plague? And is that, I don't even know, is that accurate? Or I mean, I guess I'm thinking, I guess I need to go through this. But it's weird. I'm not afraid at all. But I don't like suffering on the humanity, side of the house.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. But, you know, we've all been at those times, and I think we can all agree that we really grew the most through those tough times. So while it sucks, it's creating this rung on the ladder of our ascension. You know, it's providing that the resistance we need to be able to push up against that. Really, you know what I mean? It's like a ladder, rungs on the ladder. So it sucks, but we're going to come out stronger through it, you know?
Well, and I'll tell you, you bring up a good point. Because of my studies on what's happening and the most dismal picture, I guess you could paint, of what I just did, what it does, though, is strengthens people like myself understanding the importance of our mission, quite frankly. Yeah. And so with my light work that I do and expanding and getting stronger than I've ever seen it, does it reflect on some of the studying that I'm doing, saying, listen, people are suffering. We got to get busy now, you know. So there's more of an urgency for me to see, you know, lockdowns throughout the world and you know, this kind of suffering. But you're right. I mean, on a daily basis, so let's say South Africa or some place where they have poverty-stricken people are probably dying of starvation and different things. I mean, it's just the, you know, the world we live in. So, right. I mean, but I do feel terrible of what they have done, the cabal, to put us in this position where we are seeing a lot of people struggling here in America as well. When you talk about 22 million filings for unemployment, these people will be suffering in no time at all. So, so I just feel bad for anyone suffering. You know, you gave me a great compliment, and I've never forgotten it. I use it in my meditation and such. But it was the first time I'd called in, and Jose was on the other side on chat, and she didn't hear it. But when you closed out with me and went and talked to her after our call, you said that guy is dripping of love. You know. And I find that to be very, very moving. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, that's what we need. That's what's going to change the world. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we can all allow, because that's like the unfiltered God flowing through us, you know. But we filter it all the time. We distort it, you know, with all the things, all the distractions down here. But you know, that's what's going to change the world. That unconditional love. You know, and that's what changes the water and the light, right?
Exactly. Perfect. You're right on the money. That's exactly my work. That's exactly what I do. I think of the 3 children, my grandchild and 2 children, how much the unconditional love, because I don't think I have that for you or for another person. In reality, I think that I have unconditional love for my children, without question anyways. Let me just say that. And when you're in that mode, it's just like you say, you're in the most loving mode that you can possibly think of, and you're blessing the waters within you and of the planet Earth. I think that's the connection that I try to make constantly through meditation. So, and I think it's very effective, quite frankly. That's why I call you and talk to you every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, and I want to encourage you guys to go check out Roger's channel if you haven't already. Oh, there's Sherry now. Up then. She's saying you rock. Roger rocks.
Oh, thanks. Well, she is so cool. I mean, having me on your show and her show, if you will, and it was nice, you know. And we never talked about it, Shane, but our phone got completely corrupted and we dropped. And I know that you said that happens on occasion, but it was really weird what was happening on my side of the phone and hearing and not hearing me, and very, very odd how our call ended, you know.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. Yeah, but Sherry rocks as well. There's no question about it. And I love the I'm sorry, I'm not good with the term, but the meditation that you did with her. That was fantastic. I watched that last video that you guys did, and it was fantastic.
Oh,
very
awesome.
Enlightening.
Yeah,
very
so
enlightening.
Much. Yeah, she's really gifted, man. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and seeing this in a lot of different people, it's really cool to see different people are able to do this, and people are learning to do it, the whole BQH thing or whatever. So wonderful.
Yeah, I listened to a lot of the Ulba Weidman.
Oh, yeah?
I really have enjoyed her stuff. I really do. There's some things that really heavily resonate in some of her work as well. So yeah, I can. I'm not. I don't believe that that's my gift for some reason. And it was funny. I do have a very small following, if you will, on my channel, which is just fine. But one guy said, "You look just like. You remind me just like this other guy," and he posted his link. So I went to it, and he's probably the first guy I've seen that seems to have abilities similar to mine but different. But he moves air, so he makes trees have wind blow against them and then dead stop, and he does things with the air that is it's very, very cool. Anyway, so he sets up windmills and tries to show you and how he's moving the energy and grabbing energy from the earth, if you will, and moving wind. And I thought, well, I grab energy and move the light is what I do.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but it was so cool because I've been looking for years and years of somebody that has what I would consider a similar gift, and it's certainly not channeling. That's certainly a great gift to have as well. But yeah, he moves wind with his hands and movements of his body, and it is very, very cool shit. And I don't know. So I don't know.
That's
I
awesome.
just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, T. Taylor saying it's aerokinesis. That's cool.
Yeah. And he looks very convincing and very cool shit. And I was not familiar with
what's his channel name? Do you know, or can you put the link in there?
Oh,
maybe?
I'm so sorry. No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe when my call's over, I'll post it or something. But I watched it a little bit, and I shared it with some people at work that I show my light work to, everything from photographs and videos and real-time stuff. And they also agreed it was very very similar to my work. So anyways, I don't know, that's just very encouraging because I've never seen anyone have moving pictures that maybe that you and I and Sherry had on the show, and different things that you've seen of what I've been able to videotape and photograph. So very weird stuff. Yeah. And here I want to share, actually, this is probably the coolest shit. I mean, I don't know if I ever told you, but when this onset took place almost 8 years ago now, all my teeth on the top shifted to the right, and I lost my center line, and it moved to the right. Also, my straight nose that I had compliments from all kinds of girlfriends and that had a perfect nose moved to the right as well. And I have a crooked nose now that moves to the right, and it was like my whole... Very, very weird. Okay, so that was the first thing that happened. And the second thing that happened physically was a starfish went on my neck when I was in the shower, something about the size of a 4 or 5 inch starfish type feeling on the back of my neck. And when I was washing my hair's pretty long, and I washed by it, I could feel the whole entire thing, and it freaked the shit out of me. And anyways, I re-rinsed my hair. Yeah. And I re-rinsed my hair again, and I could feel it just as plain as ever because I thought maybe my hair was tangled or something maybe, and like, oh my God, it's sticking like 3 inches off my neck, and it's like 5 by 5. And like, holy shit. I go, and so I just standing in the shower thinking, I'm going to die. You don't have something like that. Whatever's going on there, I'm about to die. And it just went away on its own in like 2 minutes. Right, so I had that weird thing happen. Shoot, I'm losing my train of thought because I was trying to get to a point where I've had different things happen. Ancient Greek messages still come through, and the last one that came through was, they're all so beautiful, but the last ancient message that came through was actually 4 symbols of ancient Greek, and then the word love in the middle, all in capital letters and spaces between the letters. And anyways, I get these ancient Greek messages, and what that shared with me is that it is the unconditional love that needs to be the focus for my meditation, But and so this is what I was trying to get to, is that so when you have a face finder, I think I've shared this with you before, but when you have a face finder and it finds your face in the picture for a few seconds, so it'll put a circle around it and then go away. So I don't videotape this particular thing because I need 2 cameras. And anyways, so what happens is it gets real small and real big around my face. It keeps readjusting, like my face is going out of focus and actually getting real small. But I'll have one on the top of my forehead but then I'll have one, and this is important because the Mandela effect shows that we have 2 holes on the top of our eye, or on our brow, and we have 2 holes now on our right below our eyes, and then 2 below on your chin. And you made fun, having fun with you as well, but you said it's almost like he's got a pineal gland, because you said my chin or something, and you were joking one time with me.
Right.
And yeah, so anyways, these circles the space finders will come up all of a sudden and put one on my forehead, one around my nose, and then one on my chin. And they'll move around. Yeah, they move around. And they get smaller and bigger and smaller and bigger, and it fucking freaks me out, but I know that I'm connected now. And this is sometimes where I actually visually see ether coming out of my breath, and I can see the fog filling up. So I have, but I wanted to share that with you just because the Mandela effect, not many people understand, there may be some type of explanation. Those holes that have now been created in front of our face appear to be somehow, I don't know, is it the Holy Trinity type of, 3 different faces? I don't even know. But also these little tiny circles, these space finders will every now and then go to my heart, and there'll be one stuck on my heart and be flashing and going on and off and on and off. I'm like, holy shit, what is with these space finders seeing faces within the photo, within the video?
It's like chakra finders.
Pardon me?
I said it's like chakra finders almost. I've seen it do it on your forehead though, and yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, you've shown that before.
Yeah, and then on my nose now, and on my chin, and to my throat, it'll be on my chin and go all the way down to my throat, and then come back up, and then all the way down to my throat and come back up. Very fucking freaky ass shit, but I just feel like I'm very tuned up, and it's interesting that your last caller, she was talking about how she didn't have the energy and wasn't eating right, and I've been into like vitamins and nutrition and everything else. I've had illnesses, if you will, but I'm really well stocked for energy, possibly to be received or to be transmitted. And quite frankly, I think I'm more of a transmitter than I am a receiver, but I do believe that I receive as well. Just energy that goes through me. Yeah. So I don't know. Thought that was kind of exciting. Kind of mixed the Mandela in there with the face finder thing, but yeah, we're gonna win. This whole terrible situation that we live in and have been living in all our lives, and it could have been much, much better. We should have been in a paradise type of situation, and I envision that we will be.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
Yeah. Well, the Mandela, I think, tells you that you can change history. So if history can be changed, what I really, really would look forward to is for all of us to wake up in paradise with all kinds of Jesus Christ walking all over the earth, and we have only remembered that we have lived in paradise, and we've never had seen the suffering. I know that's a great jump, but I think that could be very profitable if you have 4 people in JFK's limousine. Now you have 6. I mean, why? Or Mandela himself not dying in jail, and so on and so forth. So history can be rewritten, and that would be my hope, is that we don't know anything but the paradise that we've always lived in. Yeah. Anyways, I'll conclude with that, though, Shane. But I love your show, and thank you for having me on again.
All right, buddy. I love you, man, and thanks for all you do. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, going to go back to... This has to be T. Taylor, maybe? Yeah.
Hello!
What's up, T? How are you doing?
Oh my goodness! How is everyone?
Doing wonderful. So you're going to set the record straight and let everybody know that this is for real happening. You know some people who's gotten it and actually gave their life.
Yeah. I've been quiet for a reason, because I haven't known exactly what to say, to be perfectly honest. Sorry, I have a call coming in. I'm going to pass that off. Okay, so I'm just going to say my experience, and like I've always said on my channel, this is my experience. I can only share it as openly, honestly, and transparently as possible. What we all do with that is up to each and every one of us. So here's how it played out for me. my intuition, I'm a intuitive empath. I have clairsentience, which is I know things, but I don't know how I know them, and that's a very difficult gift to have because sometimes we try and talk ourselves out of that. We've been indoctrinated and programmed into telling ourselves there's no evidence to back that up, there's no validation, but as we're on the path, we learn to start trusting ourselves more. So what happened with me is I worked for a chiropractor. I just had gone back to work full-time through a very interesting synchronicity event. After 19 years, I went back to the same job. When I finally decided I was ready to go back to full-time work, I had made a decision and said to the universe, I'm ready to go back to work, but here's what I really want to do. I had to narrow my focus, and I had to come to a conclusion within my own self. And I said, if I really went back to work full-time, I want to go back to where I was. It was a family environment for me. I knew the family so well. His wife and I had been pregnant multiple times at the same time. Like, we'd had our children together. And I really wanted, after spending all those years with my children, to go back to the same place. And the moment I made that decision, 8 hours later, not kidding, got a phone call saying, hey, this all weirdly worked out. I can't believe this is my life from my old employer. Can you please come back to work? Would you consider that? And I was like, holy crap. He'd had a girl work for him at the front desk for 12 years who all of a sudden got up and left. He had 9 employees leave. One had been there for 12 years, one had been there for 6 years, but they all left within a month. And he said, I'm in a crisis situation. Will you please consider coming back to me? And I said, absolutely, because I wanted to be there. So I went back to work. I'd been back to work full-time for 2 weeks before this whole thing started to hit. And I said to myself, you know, my intuition started kicking. And you cannot get closer to people than being a chiropractor. You just can't. He's bear hugging people on a daily. And 3 people every 15 minutes. So he's going through hundreds of people a day being in very close proximity. And I just had a feeling. I live in Washington State. I had a feeling. And I learned over the last several years to trust my feelings. So I said to him, the last day that I worked was the day after Inslee had said, let's shut it down. Let's shut down the whole state. And the day that I left work, I said to him, we had a very interesting conversation. I said, are you not afraid of giving it to somebody that you love, being asymptomatic, because he feels a lot like, all of us do, that there's ulterior motives behind this. Maybe this isn't what they're saying it is. We all feel that way because we can feel the truth. We resonate with the truth. So we know when we're being handed a bunch of bull crap, right? So we all felt that way. He's very intuitive. But the last thing I had said to him is, aren't you afraid of giving this to somebody like your parents or somebody else that, a patient that's elderly? We have most of our patients are elderly. He said, no, I'm not worried about it. I left work. A week or 2 weeks later, I got a phone call stating that, now I don't know the exact specifics. I've been out of work for 3 weeks. His mother died from being no symptoms at all to being completely asymptomatic, and she died officially, and I don't know if they've changed her record at this point, but she went from officially dying from bilateral pneumonia to, I don't know if they've changed that to COVID at this point. You know what I mean? His dad is still fighting for his life. He doesn't even know his wife has passed. His wife has tested positive, or his son has tested positive. His wife has been sick for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And I watched an entire family get taken out in a very short amount of time. So here's what I would say to people. Is there something happening? Yes. But I have a very interesting perspective, and I haven't shared it on my channel because I haven't known what to do with this. Because that's one of many families in Washington State I've seen struggle with it. I've actually seen other people die as well. That's just the closest one to me. So I would say there's definitely something happening. What I would say is I agree with Magenta Pixie. I think this was brought by a dark faction. I think it was one of their last-ditch attempts to continue to create fear, to try and do what their ultimate plan had been all along, is to do martial law and a lot of other things and try and take control of the population, because they knew our light bodies were being activated. They knew our abilities were being activated. They knew they couldn't stop it, so they're going to try and do anything they can as a last-ditch attempt. I literally just saw somebody post the other day that this is just an advanced form of Morgellons, and I had to step in and say, please stop telling people that. that is completely inaccurate. I mean, if anybody was going to have advanced stages of Morgellons, I would probably be somebody who would consider to be in that boat. And what I would say is our DNA activation protects us to some degree from this. My personal belief, I haven't shared this too much, is that this is a frequency-based attack. Once it happens and your frequency is low enough, it can transmit into a physical formulation. I think it was a bioengineered man-made weapon. That's my personal belief. I was led to, 2 days after it was released on the Department of Justice, there was an article released about Dr. Lieber, who was caught. Now, I don't know if a lot of people know this yet. It will come out, I do believe, in the next few weeks. This is going to be talked about more and more. David Wilcock has talked about it. I posted it, I think, 2 days after it happened. I was right on that. My intuition led me there. But Dr. Lieber was the head of chair for Harvard University's biological chemistry section, biological chemical section, and he was head of chemistry. He also worked in nanotech, and he got caught trying to smuggle in 21 vials. This was the third time that they knew he'd done it, with 2 Chinese counterparts. 21 vials in somebody's stock on a passenger plane to where? To the Wuhan Level 4 virology lab. Some of those vials have tested positive for coronavirus. So I do believe, my personal perspective, that's mine alone, is that this was a bioengineered man-made weapon, and that it was supposed to do some sort of this Agenda 21 that they had been working on for quite some time. That's my personal belief. That being said, do I think it's been overblown? Absolutely. Do I think there's ulterior motives behind the scenes? Absolutely. Do I think they're making it more than it is to try and shut down the entire country and globe? Absolutely. But at the same time, I think that those of us that are activated are protected to a large degree. I think it starts as a frequency-based attack. I think if your frequency is low enough, I think it has a way in. That's my personal perspective, because I think as the frequencies shift with the planet, it's now or never. It's either get your stuff together, do your inner work, raise your vibration, or you're making a soul decision that you don't want to stay. And that's okay. Everybody has the right to choose everything that they want to choose, because, everybody has free will. And there's no wrong choice. It's the right thing for everybody's soul evolution. We can't disregard that, but at the same time, we can't also say that this. I've seen so many people say this isn't real. I don't know anybody who's sick. I don't know anybody who's died. I could name 15 people right now that I know have tested positive and are sick. I remember for Washington State when this kicked off, my dude, I remember in January, late January, I remember falling asleep with my head on his chest because he had what I call the death rattle. And intuitively, in the 7 years we've been together, I'd never seen him that sick. And I thought he was going to make it through the night. When my son got sick and I asked for prayers for my son, same thing. They never were able to fully diagnose him. They did multiple endoscopies on him. They could not understand why he couldn't even keep his own spit down. He couldn't breathe. My dude's son couldn't breathe. He got diagnosed with pneumonia and severe bronchitis. This was before he even hit Washington State, supposedly, and we were the first state in the union to be diagnosed. But we also are a border town. We have an airport. We're about an hour and a half north of Seattle. So we have a lot of Asian Canadians that come down right across the border because our gas is cheaper, our milk is cheaper, all of our essentials are cheaper, so they will come down chronically, or they'll get, these hopper flights from international flights into Seattle, and then they'll take a hopper flight to Bellingham, which is where I live, and then go back across the border to Canada. So I think it hit way before people knew it hit, personally, in Washington State. I think our first diagnosed case was in late January. But I think it hit us way before that because everybody around me started to fall. My coworkers fell. I had a coworker who's been practicing chiropractic since before I was born in 75, and he hadn't missed a day in 44 years, and he went out for a week. Same exact symptoms as corona. I had another coworker who had never missed a day, and she went out for an entire week with a fever of 104. Same exact time. So my point is, I do think there's something happening, but I do want to say that there's a higher perspective if we really get into it. So let's talk about it. What else could force the entire global population to stop in their tracks for a minute? Like, let's say this was sparked from nefarious reasons, sure. But on the backside, the energies have already reset. Those energies are no longer supported. That was never going to be a long-term plan for them. So let's look at it from the higher perspective. What else would stop everybody in their tracks and cause major global awakening? What else would cause people to go home and look at their family, to go home and spend time with their children, to get off that hamster wheel for just a effing second? You know what I mean? Like, we had to take a moment, and look at each other and start reevaluating our priorities as a global species, as humans, because what was working was not working.
And even the deaths, like that hits home. I mean, if for the people who have experienced someone close to them die from this whole event, that's still a huge wake up call. I mean, that's like death knocking at your door. I mean, that's a huge wake up call. So, but I still see it all working towards the good ultimately, because it makes people stop whatever they're doing. It breaks up the grind, because so many people are just on the grind. Good, loving people, they just don't have a time to take a break,
Didn't have a choice. Yeah, because they had to feed their families. They had to do this. They had to do that. And so many people in my personal area that I love so much, the same exact situation. They didn't have a choice. They have to keep working because they have obligations. They have responsibilities. And this is the only thing. I mean, Reagan said it years ago. He said there has to be something that will stop everybody and make everybody come together. And this is the first thing we've seen in multiple lifetimes, multiple generations. I mean, even my parents who are in their, mid-70s have said, we never thought we'd live through something like this. Now, did I try to warn my parents? Absolutely. Did most of us who were awakened? I mean, I put out a video, at the very beginning of my awakening that talked about a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of us, we knew the information. We tried to warn people. We didn't know exactly how it was going to come in. It was very abstract. But we knew that there would be a situation that would cause what we could call a shutdown or a change, and it had to happen because this house of cards that was built on completely old energies that were dark, that were born of manipulation, deception, abuses, you know what I mean? Like just all this crap. And they had to fall because nobody can go forward with those systems anymore. It's just as we raise our consciousness, that was just not going to be allowed because those are faulty systems. They benefit the very select few in a very horrible way based off the backs of everybody else. You know what I mean? Including murder. Let's be honest. So that had to come to light, and that's harsh, and that's not fun, and that's scary, and that's anxiety ridden, and you can just feel the collective. So many of us are empaths. We can feel the collective's awakening, and that is causing so much anxiety for so many empaths because they don't know how to block it. They don't know how to wade through those emotions without feeling them at their core, and that can be very, debilitating to some degree. But what I would say is we were chosen for a reason. We were given a heads up for a reason. We awakened in advance for a reason so that we could be the calm in the storm, so we could be those lighthouses, so that we could try and use whatever creative gifts or whatever gifts we were given. As, Roger was saying, as some of the other callers are saying, we all are given gifts, and it's up to us to define what those are and figure out how to use those or utilize those in the best way for everybody. But now is the time for us to shine. You know what I mean? Now is the time to step up for some of those people like, for my boss. I've tried to be there as much as possible and say, hey, look, I know this is a horrible time for you. I can't imagine what you're going through, but I just want you to know I'm there. Here's something. I'll throw in something, here and there. But all of us have to do that in our own way because the collective needs us right now. That's why we're here. That's why we were declared wild cards. That's why we were picked, because we're strong in that respect. We're light beings from a higher, you could say, level or a different level that we were aware. At least we were given that ability. I can't imagine. Most of us woke up and almost went crazy when we woke up. Like I woke up from my NDE, being able to see what I would call the field, 6D, that underlined light language in all living matter, and I thought I was losing my shit. Excuse my language. So many of us did. But that being said, there's a reason we were given that advance notice, because we can really help at this time. And each person can do that in a way that's big or small or however that works for you. I say everybody can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody in some way. And that's why it's really, it's so crucial we step up right now in whatever way that is. Not everybody needs to have a YouTube channel. Not everybody can do what you do or I do, but we can all do something. Sometimes
it presents itself. You don't even have to. You don't even have to look for it. It will present itself. You'll see where you've been put right there in that particular situation to help out, and it's just being in the moment and being aware.
Absolutely. I say that to people all the time, like sometimes it's just getting a community, newsletter going for our neighborhoods. I had one of my neighbors started to put a mailing list together, and I said, what about putting a community table out? So, if you have extra TP, if you have extra, I know a lot of people don't want to give it up. It's gold right now. But like if you have extra something, there are so many people that overbought or who we were aware we prepped ahead of time. You know what I mean? And if we can help our neighbors, that's what we're here for right now, is to give hope, to give effing hope to those people that are so lost in just awakening. Because what happens when most of us awaken? We awaken in those lower vibrational fields of anger, frustration, just straight up unbelievability as to what we had happening in front of our faces and we didn't know. You know what I mean? And then guilt for not doing anything about it because we didn't know. So many of us awaken in that state, and that's what really can drive down the field. And of course, they're terrified because what's being pumped at them from every side? Death, despair, decay. Of course. It's the dark's last ditch attempt because what was their society built off of? They fed off of a death and kill society. Of course. It's a for-profit society. And that all has to change. So it's going to look chaotic is what I would say. But I would just say in the interim, it's up to all of us to really stand strong in who we are and really fight this fight right now. I know it's been a lot of kind of hoo-haws and this and that and abstract ideas for the last few years as we're all kind of wading through what this means to awaken. But if there was ever a time to stand up, it's now. If there was ever a time that there was a reason we awakened 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, some of us decades before, it's now. It's for this exact purpose, and it will be fine. But we cannot keep feeding into the grid death, despair, decay. You know what I mean? Because that will just accentuate that in the new grid that's being formed. The new earth it's already there, but we don't want to keep accentuating the crap. We want to keep focusing on the positive. Like I love the things like John Krasinski's new thing, Some Good News. I love that. We have to focus on the positive because there are so many amazing things happening right now. Like the Himalayas could be viewed for the first time in years because so many people are stuck at home right now. And the pollution has gone down in those areas, and we couldn't see those mountains in those areas because of all the pollution for so long. And that's something to celebrate. The animals are starting to come back. That's something to celebrate. The ozone layer is recuperating. Those are all wonderful and amazing things to celebrate. And was it uncomfortable in the interim? Absolutely. Did any of us like our rights being infringed on? No. But at the same time, if we can do it with grace, if we can do it with a sense of humor, if we can do it with compassion and love for our neighbors, it's going to go a really long way. But I do want to tell people that I see a lot in our spiritual community. There's a divide happening, and I'm seeing political stuff come in, and that drives me crazy. And I'm also seeing this, it's just not happening. This is all crap. And I would like to tell people there is something happening. We can be aware, and we can go through it in a very positive way, but we can't negate somebody else's experience. We can't negate somebody else, who's experiencing the loss of a loved one to what we would call corona. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, I think there's a lot of information that will come out on the backside about how this has been a bioengineered weapon. But in the interim, we have to admit that there's something happening, but we can take it and we can spin it in the most positive way for everybody and still, be who we are as light workers and try and use this and do the best that we can with what we've been handed. And I do think that all of these timelines, like somebody else was saying, are melting into one. We're going to negate all of these parallels, and we're going to condense them into a timeline for the collective. But I think if we as light workers focus, 1 day of meditation on 4-4 raised the vibration of the earth to 76 hertz from 7.83. That is amazing. That in itself is just fantastic. And if we can focus on that and use our gifts, I just really think it'll go a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited about what's going on. And you know, it's funny that you said that about the manufactured or the, you know, the bioweapon or human. I kind of felt like they took something and manipulated it, you know, maybe took a virus and then weaponized it or did something to it. Yeah. So, but it came out, you know, with the president cutting funding to the WHO, that tells me something's probably leaning towards what you're saying. And then just today, right before I went on the air, he was in a press conference and somebody actually asked him if it came from a lab that I guess Obama cut a $3.5 million grant to in 2015 just before he left office. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I don't know. It just sounded awfully suspicious.
And if you look at Dr. Lieber, like I said, now he was given $5 million in funds to do what he was doing. They were asking him specifically to study bat coronaviruses in some degree. Look at that article from the Department of Justice. You can find it at the Department of Justice. I've posted it on my Facebook, my webpages several times. That came out on January 28th. They caught him trying to sneak in, like I said, 21 vials of biological components in a stock. And where were they headed? The Wuhan level 4 virology lab. So, I mean, all of these don't just play in for no reason. There's something to be said. Dr. Fauci was given $3.5 million. Like, if you really look at those things, there's something to be said for that. But like I said, I think we just have to focus on the fact that everything dark will be brought into light. Whether we push it or not, it will find its way there because that's just the way it's going to work. Nothing dark's going to be able to stay in the dark anymore. You know, it's just higher photonic energy. Everything has changed. The energy has already reset. But we as a human race just have to, you know, we have to do the best that we can for each other right now. And I think that is the best thing we can do is raise each other's spirits. Remember that there's hope. Remember that some people are not going to want to go to the new earth the way that we are. Their soul has not decided to do that. They might decide to say that we've done what we came here to do. We're deciding to tap out. That might look like an exit plan in a very interesting way. We can't know what somebody else's soul has chosen, but what we can do is honor and support the people that are still here in whatever highest way and best way that we can. So, you know, we have to remember that. There's so many of us, too, that came forward, like, you know, you and I did in a certain time period a few years ago. We felt compelled to. We're going to see a flash. So many more that feel those feelings now, that are just awakening, that are going to bring their creative gifts or their gifts to the forefront because they're feeling the same thing you and I and you know, many others felt years ago. That's their awakening. They're going to bring amazing inventions. They're going to bring great ideas to the forefront. They're going to bring hope and wonderful light ideas. You know, so many of us also, you know, were isolated for so many years. And as I was just listening to Magenta Pixie's one of her latest videos, and she was talking about those that were isolated will have developed those telepathy abilities. Yeah. You know, way in advance of those hitting it now. I was isolated for 20 years. To me, this lockdown is no different than the last 20 years of my life because I had a sick child and I had no choice to stay home for many years. And so what I had done is I'd gone inward those years. I think that's probably why I was hit so hard with my awakening the way that it happened, because I'd already done so much of my inner work because I didn't have any other choice. I was stuck at home. There's only so many video games you can play. There's only so many movies you can watch. There's only so much stuff you can do. And so I was forced to get in touch with myself, get in touch with nature. Not that I'd ever lost that, but it amps up to a different level. And so what we'll see with so many of these people being taken off that Ferris wheel, being taken off that hamster cage, you know, that constant, the only thing they have in their life is going to work and getting home and then doing it all over again the next day. This is a beautiful thing, that they can take the time, they can focus on their loved ones, and they can focus on their children or whatever is in their life and go, you know what, I've been able to do this for a long time. And we'll all get there together if we can just share. If we can utilize what we have and share and bring some ideas to the forefront that will help the rest of us. And if you have an idea, don't think it's little, don't think it's trivial. If you feel compelled to share it, please do. Bring it somewhere, even if it's just a Facebook post, even if it's just sharing it with one person, because you will be led to do the right thing at the right time, but just trust your instincts, trust your intuition, trust that little tiny voice. Don't trust the loud nagging one, because that's the one that's the ego that's going to tell you all the reasons why it's stupid. You know what I mean? So trust that little tiny voice that's going to tell you to do all the right things. Everybody listening to you knows that, but maybe on the precipice that you know that there's a lot of people just finding you that are just awakening, because I know I have a lot of people finding me, a lot of people, same with Magenta Pixie. We have a lot of people just awakening in the collective. So
I knew it was going to be like that.
Trust that little tiny voice.
You know,
right?
when it was coming up on the equinox, I knew, because there's always those upticks right around March, right around September, where people start seeing the Mandela effect and start waking up.
Right.
And so many people have woken up at those times or whatever. So I was already expecting it, and then this happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can totally see how all these catalysts are stacking on top, you know? And it's creating this situation where people are waking up in droves, and it's so exciting to see it all playing out right before our eyes.
And that's what we have to stay together with. And then the more we isolate from each other, the more you could say the dark wins in some degree. I mean, do we need to isolate to some degree? Yeah, but at the same time, the internet was meant to be the nail in the coffin for us. And what happened was they never saw coming what would happen, and that's exactly what you're saying. There's so many people that are just being awakened. They find your stuff through synchronicity. They find your stuff through their higher self. They'll find my stuff because they realize something's happening to their physical vessel, and they're like, what the F is happening here right now? You know, and it just happens across the board with every single person. And each person that's listening to you, I just encourage you to really do that inner work and really try to pinpoint what you can bring to the table in your most creative and beautiful way. Because every single person has such a beautiful light within them, and we all have gifts. And not everybody's going to do what you do, like I said, or I do, but we can all do something. And like I said, sometimes it's just something small, like paying it forward to the person in front of you at the takeout line. Or maybe it's knowing that there's an elderly woman who lives on your street, and she hasn't been able to get out for a couple of days, and you just drop some flowers off. Or you do just something that spark hope. Just spark some effing hope in some people right now. And I guarantee you will be paid back so much more than what you ever thought. Because that is just the right thing to do right now. I mean, if we can do anything, it's we can be the lighthouses for everybody else. And I think that's truly why our lives were, activated, years ago. So that's my spiel. I don't want to keep anybody too long, but I've missed you guys so much, and I've kind of kept quiet about what I think, because I just, nobody wants to be a downer, but at the same time, I do want to tell people that there is a real event occurring. It's not completely fictional, but I do think that those of us that are aware and awake, in some degree, I think it's a frequency attack, and I think that we're protected in some way. I'm not going to lie. I literally had everybody around me going down. My dude, my kid, his kid, like my boss's people, my coworkers, everybody around me went down, and I didn't get sick. So I do think that there is something to be said for being awake and aware and utilizing your higher healing. I think everybody can access that. We don't know here's the problem though, we don't know all the data. The data is not in. We can't all say we know anything absolute. Nobody does. This is something that's never happened before, but I do think that there's a positive spin that will come out of all of this in the long run, and we just have to be patient, but we have to be, alert and aware and use our discernment in the interim.
Absolutely. You said it well. This is the time for us to shine, for sure. Thank you, T. Taylor.
It is. Love you guys. I'll catch
Love
you guys
you,
on the
Tony.
rebound.
Okay. Have a good one.
Okay.
Right.
Bye. You too.
Love you. Bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling in, Tony, and sharing your experience. So I wanted to bring this up with, is Sherry still in the chat? I wanted to bring this up because this came up. Okay, so you guys know how, those who follow the channel anyway, know I did the Super Consciousness video with Sherry, from Sherry's, where I had the text on the screen, and I had made transcripts of it, and I read it out. I don't know if you guys remember that. Well, I had that re-aired again. I made another video for the Worldwide Regression Week that aired on the Quantum Healers YouTube channel today. And I was rewatching it again and chatting, and because it premiered, and it got to the part where it was talking about the shift that we're in. Now, keep in mind, this actually came out in January, so this all made way more sense now in light of everything. So I kind of got this like little epiphany while re-listening to the super consciousness, basically a channeling that Sherry did. So when I got to the part about, you know, are we already shifting into this new reality? And the answer was yes, but it needed to become a consensus reality. And then right then, it just hit me. It was like, that's what this is. This is making it a consensus reality. It's spreading it throughout the collective. So right there, I mean, you can see the pieces are all falling together. Just like that session said, the pieces are there. They're not even mixed up. They're all just falling together perfectly. And that's what we see happening right here. And that's what I've been seeing in meditation. I recommend all of you guys take time to meditate, and if you can get outside, if it's nice where you live, you get out in your yard or do whatever you can, and to try to get a little bit of nature and get away from the loop of all the doom and gloom on the networks or whatever, which most of you guys are on YouTube anyway, like me. Like I watch I'll watch maybe the president every now and then doing the press briefing for a few minutes, or usually it's on a truther channel, it's a clip or something, so I don't really keep up with it too much either. And there's just so many better things to do. So I love you guys so much. Be back tomorrow night with Eileen for the Power of One. Stay safe, keep your vibes up. There's so much to be excited about. I hope all of you guys are feeling the excitement. Lots of love, light, and unity. See you in the next one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.